I have a lot of friends who are sober, a lot of friends who are straight edge, a lot of my friends who are going through it. I know struggling with substance abuse and alcoholism can be really, really hard, especially knowing who to turn to. It can be really, really daunting. I'm here to say that a good friend of mine and his friend started this incredible treatment center called Refine Recovery. They gave me a phone number, 855-516-3332. You can text, you can call them. It's totally confidential. It's safe. There'll be somebody on the other line to help you out, a compassionate human being to talk to help you navigate the process, the insurance treatments. They accept most of private insurances. You can go refinerecovery.com, Refine Recovery Instagram. I know it's hard, but reach out to somebody, man. People care about you. People love you. People want you to be here for a long time. People love you in their lives. If you're going through it, make this phone call. It's totally private. I know people DM me all the time about going through it and going through sobriety and trying to get straight and trying to take care of themselves. And the struggle is totally real. And Refine Recovery is the definitely move. Reach out to them, 855-516-3332, or text them, 855-516-3332. You can call or text this number anytime, 855-516-3332. You know the drill. This number is here for you to call. As we get older, we start paying attention to what we put in our bodies. I personally have been listening to my body since I was 18 when I went vegan. I've always been focused on my health. It's super important, mental and physical health. But it's really important for people who are just starting to get more healthy and trying to step up their life. Doing your homework, reading the labels, researching and verifying everything that's quality. It's part of the game these days. That's why I started drinking AG1s. I'm so proud to have them sponsor my podcast. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut support and is backed by multiple research studies. You can trust what you're putting into your body. We're all so busy these days, so just throw a pack of AG1 in the morning into a cup of water and shake it up and drink it. I love the way it tastes. I do it every single morning. It's part of my routine. I bring the packets on tour. It's an incredible life changer for me. Many supplements only reference research from ingredients in their product, but I trust AG1 in my daily routine because it's constantly putting the formula to the test. It's backed by multiple research studies, and one of those research studies, AG1 was shown to have double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which is super important because these help digestion in the immune system and the immune health. And these bacteria are known to help with digestion as well, gas and bloating, which I freaking need. And it also promotes regular bowel movements, what I can attest to. In another research study, 97% participants felt more energy after 30 days, and 91% of the participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days. I quit coffee like 5 months ago. I know I'm good on that. But AG1 is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients and is the perfect complement to my healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work, and it gives me a peace of mind covering all my nutrition bases for the day. In fact, I trust it so much, that's why I'm spreading the word about it. That's why it sponsors my podcast. Thanks to Angie Huberman for turning me on to AG1s, connecting me with them, and now they're part of my podcast. It's so easy and satisfying to start your day with AG1s. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of the vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your purchase at drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. It's never been a better time to focus on your health and wellness and get back on track, man. Take control of your daily health. Health is wealth. Got to give a big shout out to Liquid Death. I've been in a band called H2O for 30 years, and my first real job with a company is a water brand. Go figure. Love you, Liquid Death. Love the people. Love the brand. Love the concept. Love what they give back. Love the community. Love what they do for the environment. You can go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on any of their merchandise that they make. They have such incredible collabs. Also, if you want to hear the story of the CEO, my good friend Mike Cesario, on the podcast, you can go to episode 115, part 1. And then 2 years later, we dropped a part 2, which is episode 275 with the CEO, Mike Cesario. Just a man from Delaware with a dream, worked at a marketing company, and made this become a reality. Liquid Death is an incredible company, incredible water, incredible people. And I'm super, super honored to be part of them. They sponsor my life. They sponsor everything, my family. So go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on anything you want to buy on that site. If you want to get water, it's exclusively on Amazon.com. Murder your thirst, y'all. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse. Today, I have a very special, all my guests are special, a very special guest in my kitchen, Mr. James Hart. Thank you for being here, bro.
Thank you for having me.
The last time I saw you guys was at Furnace Fest.
Yeah.
That was a good show.
It was a great show.
That was fun, man. That's such a crazy festival, man, playing in Alabama. It's wild.
Isn't it?
Yeah. I never really played shows out there before.
Was that your first one?
Probably like in 20 years or something. You probably played Alabama way, I don't even know, back in the day, Boss Tones maybe or something. I don't know.
But you never did the Furnace Fest.
No, that was sick. And that was the last one.
Yeah. They're doing something else. I don't know what it's going to be. I have no clue. It just sounds like they're going to do something else. But yeah, that the Shed stage is sick vibe. It sounds awful in there, but the vibe is like unbeatable.
I know. We had a great yeah, that was awesome, dude. What a day, man. And you guys played a couple shows, didn't you? Did Observatory?
Yeah, we did Observatory. We flew out and did a couple gigs on the East Coast. It Dies Today, Walls of Jericho.
That's awesome. How were those shows?
Great. Linking up with the old Trustkill crew.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Walls of Jericho is sick.
Yeah.
Still killing it, too.
Yeah, they've been, I don't think they've ever stopped.
They haven't. I see them do Europe all throughout the years, like during random festivals and stuff.
Yeah, they do Europe. I guess they're saying like they do Europe once a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to get over there.
Candace is amazing front woman. Oh my God, man.
Yeah, she's always killed it.
She's like wow.
MMA or
dude.
I don't know. I think she does like bodybuilding and stuff.
Legit.
Yeah.
And then you got Dan Smith playing with you now, which is awesome, man.
Yeah, I love Dan. I've loved Dan for so long.
It's a great addition, man. It's really awesome, man. I'm sure he's tattooed you before.
Loads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought you were from Orange County, but it's Chicago.
I moved out when I was 6.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I grew up
here
in Orange County. Yeah. But I carry like a lot of like Chicago roots with me. My dad's from there. He still lives there. So like a lot of Chicago sports ties for me.
Yeah, that's right. You're a Cubs fan for life. Yeah.
Bears. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you go out there still?
No, really just whenever we play.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually too cold.
And your dad's out there?
Yeah.
Does he come to the shows?
Oh yeah. He always comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, Chicago's freezing. It's such a great city, though, man.
It is. Yeah.
My wife's from there. It's a beautiful place to visit, and I don't know, Riot Fest. There's all kinds of great things happening there. Food, everything.
Yeah, food's great.
But why Cali? Like, why'd you guys come out here?
So my mom was originally from out here. She had lost her dad, so my grandfather had passed away, and her mom was still out here, and both of her sisters, and I think that was kind of always the plan for her. Like she had moved out to the Chicago area with my aunt when they were teenagers. They had family out there. A lot of my family is from Wisconsin.
Oh, wow. Okay.
My great-grandparents were, my grandmother's first-generation American from Norway.
Oh, wow.
So her parents migrated from Norway.
Okay.
So,
Norway's amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it's super cool. Did a cruise there, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, the plan, I guess, was to always move back here. So I just pretty much been raised here. Found hardcore when I was 12 years old. Didn't know what it was. Didn't know, like, I was listening to my friend's older brother had some, like, cassettes, Gorilla Biscuits, Fugazi, Minor Threat, Far Side, some post-hardcore stuff as well.
Yeah.
And
how old were you then?
I was like 12.
Damn.
And like before I was listening to that stuff, or before I started listening to that, it was like, on the edgier side of things for me, it was like Bad Religion, Pennywise, No Effects. I was like, I liked skateboarding and a lot of those bands. Tool, actually, I found on a skate video when I was like 12.
Wow.
From the Opiate EP or whatever, and so I was just like, oh, this is heavy, this is cool, because I liked Metallica and Megadeth, the stuff they played on the radio. The
soundtrack was so important back then too, from the skate videos.
Oh yeah,
Found so much music through that.
Yeah, so much. So yeah, I kind of stumbled into hardcore, and then I found out like when I got into high school, like what straight edge was, and I'd never drank or done drugs or anything, and listening to some of the music, I just kind of felt like I connected to it.
Yeah. So you hadn't tried anything ever?
Nah.
Like me? Wow, that's amazing.
Actually, I take that back. My friend whose older brother kind of introduced us to punk and hardcore and stuff. I was out with my friend and his family, like doing some like little like camping trip, like outside of San Diego. And like we came upon this cooler at night. We were just kind of combing through people's coolers outside their Winnebagos or campers. And we're like, oh dude, it's full of beer. Let's do the Beastie Boys Fight for Your Right to Party video.
That's amazing.
And so we took all the beer and like went and kind of hid, and like I just took one sip and I spit it right out, and I was like, "Oh dude. God, yeah, this is bad." You know,
that doesn't count, man. You just swallow it.
And so yeah, I was like, "Oh, this is gross." He spit it out too, and I actually coincidentally he didn't start drinking until he was like 21, 22, 23.
Oh really?
Yeah, and he grew up like in sports and around like people that partied and shit.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it really counts, man.
Yeah.
You spit it out. Didn't like the taste. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really care either way.
I know. Still edge for life. So then you find hardcore and you find these lyrics and you find straight edge and all that, and that's it. It's your tribe. Just like you fucking found it. And you're skating too, obviously. Were you a good skater?
No, I was terrible.
Just a street skater?
Yeah, I think so I played sports too, and I was really, really good at baseball. I think part of it was like when I was coincidentally when I was 12 again, everything kind of circles around like the age of 12 for me.
Your parents divorced at 11 maybe? Is
no, 10.
Okay.
Yeah, 10-ish. Yeah, and then my dad moved back to Chicago.
Okay.
And I didn't see him again for years. But I was skateboarding and just kind of like starting to kind of like get out of like the normal like way of growing up and living,
Yeah.
and finding punk and, just a different like way of life and different outlook on things. But skateboarding, I almost broke my arm trying to ollie this like crazy gap and hit like I landed it and like hit like a pebble or a rock, and I went flying over the front of the board and landed on my arm. Almost broke it. I had to pitch like an all-star game the next day, and it was not cool. And so like ever since then, I just, for the 3 or 4 years I kept skateboarding afterwards, I really kind of took it easy. I didn't like, go too hard. I wasn't trying to do too much. I kind of just would cruise around with friends and kind of hang out and just kind of be there for like the social aspect of it.
Yeah, for sure. But sports were the most important, probably baseball for you.
Yeah, I was into it. Yeah.
Did you want to be a pro? Is that what you wanted to do?
I did, yeah.
Wow.
And then
how far did you go with it?
I played up until my sophomore year. Junior year, showed up for like this, it was called baseball class at the beginning of the year, since it was like off season, and they were just like, you're going to lift weights and you're going to run and you're going to do field maintenance. And I was like, we're not practicing or playing any games. They're like, no, we're not allowed. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'm not going to do this. And they're like, well, if you don't do this, you can't be on the team. I was like, yeah, cool. I'll see you later. And that was it.
Damn.
That was it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
You would have seen your punk rock skateboard world at that time, I think.
Yeah,
too.
dude. I was like 15 and like,
and they're trying to work out and shit.
Yeah, and now I work out like every day.
Yeah, I know.
Voluntarily.
It is interesting how we get older. Like I never played sports or cared about sports, but how I run now, I'm like trying to be in the best shape of my life, and I never gave a shit about that when I was younger either. I was just like, just skating. That's it, Yeah. And going to shows.
And I feel like
like the jocks were like, not jocks like, oh, those guys are in shape. They work out, dude. I was just so like in my punk tunnel, but it's like, actually, these people are actually healthy and they're exercising a lot. And I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like too, right around that time, I want to say like the band kind of started, or I started.
Okay.
I want to say it was my sophomore year. I met some kid in one of my classes that played guitar, and he was like into like Sepultura and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah, sick, cool. And he's like, oh, we're starting a band. Like, do you want to play in the band? I was like, yeah, for sure. And it ended up being like Dave Peters.
Oh wow.
Yep. From Throwdown, and Ken Floyd, who ended up playing in 18 Visions with me for a very long time. And they kicked me out of the band for Russ from Eyelid.
Wow. How long were you in the band for?
Like a few months. We just did some like, some like house like rehearsals and practices, and like, it's just kind of like I'd never sang before, and I was just like, like, I don't know, I'd sing along at shows, and like that was pretty much it, right?
Yeah.
And like I don't know, I grabbed a mic, and it was just like this really great like outlet for me, like rage wise. I had a lot of like built up rage. Like I was dealing with like my parents' divorce and all this other shit at the time, and it just felt really good. And I think I don't know if Eyelid was a full-on band yet, but somehow they had a connection with Russ. They kicked me out, played one show with him, and then I think he left the band to do Eyelid, I think is what happened. And then I guess it circled back around. I don't really remember what happened.
Was this a different band or 18 Visions?
It ended up becoming 18 Visions.
What was the name of it originally?
So we didn't have a name at that point, and I don't remember the name they played under with Russ. But then we played one show under the name Dante from Dante's Inferno. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, stupid.
That's crazy.
And then we played a couple of shows and released a demo under the name Macabre.
Okay, what's that from?
Just I think Ken came up with it.
Macabre?
It's like wizardry shit kind of.
Okay.
And one of the lyrics in one of the songs was I depict 18 visions for its demise, which was like kind of like I grew up like super Catholic with it like kind of forced down my throat. And it was kind of like a jab at that, right? And 18 Visions was like 666, right? Just like, I was 15, 16-year-old kid like into metal, trying to write the darkest, most evil shit I could, right?
I didn't realize that. That's smart. Wow.
And it just was super cheesy. And I think we just were like, oh, let's change the name again. And we're like, what about 18 Visions? And that's kind of what we stuck with. And yeah.
It's awesome, man.
Here we are.
It's a great story. So you like going to church a lot growing up and stuff?
Loved it, man.
I was raised Catholic, so I hated going to church. I was forced to go to church, man.
Worst.
Catechism, I did that. I think we're altar boys for a second, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't do the altar boy thing.
First communion.
But yeah, all the communion
catechism.
Stuff.
Yeah,
I had to do all that, and like I hated it because I was missing baseball practice for it. It was like on a weekday at like 3 or 4 o'clock, and it was taking me away from something I loved. And yeah, it
was baseball over everything for you back then. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, for sure. Yeah, it was baseball and like Michael Jordan.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the religion thing, man. So obviously when you heard, damn, Bad Religion must have been so shocking to your parents, maybe, when you got into Bad Religion.
Yeah, I don't really know if my mom was paying a ton of attention to like what I was listening to back then.
Were you a good kid? Were you like a good student and stuff?
Yeah, up until like I got into high school,
Yeah.
And then it just, all of the shit I was just dealing with internally that I didn't realize I was dealing with internally until I got much older. Just, with the divorce and, all that other
it's hard on kids, man.
Yeah, stuff that comes along with it. Like,
were you going back and forth between both parents?
No, not at all. Because my dad moved back to Chicago when I was maybe 12.
Wow. Okay.
So really quickly after they got divorced, he was much younger than my mom. So he was, I think looking for, a support system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. But you tighter now as you get older?
I am with him now. Yeah. Much, like we've gone through a lot. He's gone through a lot as a person. He's got like 15 years sobriety.
Okay.
I think. And I think that's
great.
Yeah, totally, man. And absolutely changed his life,
And where's your mom? Is your mom still here?
Yeah. Yep. Still in California.
Okay. Like you guys are close?
Yeah, fairly.
Yeah. Parents weird, man, especially when you get older. I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'm a parent, so it's different. It's different seeing my mom and raising 3 boys and all that, but just, I don't know. I always had resentment towards my mom, but it's all good now.
Yeah.
I'm in therapy for it. Did you go to therapy and stuff too when you were younger?
So she tried to get me into therapy, and I don't really remember going to therapy, but then she, I talked to her about a lot recently that I've kind of, not been going through now, but went through at the time, that's kind of shaped me as a person.
Yeah.
And, doing a lot of like self-work and like reflection on myself later in life. And I finally had, a conversation with her, and she's like, well, you were in therapy. I was like, I don't really remember going.
Too young.
Because I am in therapy now.
Okay.
And I don't really remember going. She's like, well, you were, 13 or 14. I can't really remember. And like, you didn't want to go. And I was like, well, I don't really remember going. She's like, oh, well, don't you remember like the guy, it was like, he told you that like you don't need a physical dad because God is your father and that's the only father you need. And I was like, yeah, cool. Like that's why it didn't work for me. Like what kind of bullshit is that?
That's why I blocked it out.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
To tell like a early teenage kid, like you don't need a physical father, that God is the only father you need.
It's
like
insane, man.
Yeah, man.
Wow. It's crazy the trauma stuff that we block out.
Right.
Because I started going to therapy for the first time last year and just pulling back the layers, different things about your childhood you put somewhere else. It's like, it's wild, man.
Everything, man. So my dad that is in Chicago, he's actually not my biological father.
Really?
Yeah, my biological father, I didn't meet him until like my parents got divorced. I didn't even know he existed.
What?
Yeah, and then I get this bomb dropped on me.
So you thought the ones that got divorced were your actual parents?
That he was my actual father.
Yeah.
My mom is my mom, is my mother, but he was not. What? He's my sister's dad, but not mine. And I was like, well, who's my dad? I want to meet my dad. And so she's like, oh shit, like I gotta go see if I can dig this guy up. And
no way.
Yeah. So she dug him up. I saw him every year until from 11 to 18. We didn't really vibe together.
Was he from Chicago too?
Yeah, but then he had moved to like Little Rock, and I had just I think I was starting to get to the age where I was starting to ask a lot of questions. Well, wait a second, like, you know, I need a little help with this. You're my dad now. You're in my life. Do you want to chip in with this? And like, it was like pass. And it's like, dude, what the fuck, you know, like,
damn, man.
And then, you know, realizing too that like, he actually like gave me up for adoption. He actually like decided he was going to forego any responsibility for me. And I think I didn't really, I think that's a lot of too, like my, you know, my trauma from my childhood and like dealing with that in high school, dealing with that as like somebody in their mid to late teens and early 20s.
Having a father figure, man.
And then I carried it into my 30s and like now I'm in my 40s, just really starting to realize that like, that's the author of like a lot of my issues, you know,
100%.
a lot of my problems and like my, abandonment issues I have and just things like that, you know, that
so there was a reason why your mom was keeping him quiet, because maybe he was not a good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to protect you from, I guess, in a sense, like,
yeah, I guess he probably wasn't like, you know, the best dude. But
was she when you asked, did you want to meet him, was she pushing back on it? Like,
no, I don't think she pushed back on it, but it was just more of a question of like, oh, I got to see if this is something he would want, you know? And then when he says yes, I do want to, and he comes out here and he makes an effort, but then, you know, I see you once a year, talk to you maybe once a week on the phone, and then like you go away and I don't see you and there's like no real connection. And then when, you know, I start asking for help with things and you say no, that's a tough pill to swallow for a kid.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
man. Yeah. Especially that you're the dad. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Do you ever want to have kids?
I did for a long time. And then I think a few years ago, I started realizing like how sweet life was and how much freedom I had.
Totally.
And, you know, the dynamic in my marriage, my relationship, and just like, you know, the things we're able to do, like just going to gigs, going out to play gigs, like, you know, just being able to kind of do whatever I want, whenever I want.
Yeah.
Is really nice. And being able to go out and travel and.
Yeah, that's good. The freedom.
Yeah, the freedom, man. And I have a lot of friends that have kids, obviously, and they love it, but then, you know, they don't have the life I do. They don't have the freedom I do. And maybe it's a different type of reward, right, for them.
Yeah.
You know, but they're like, oh, I would love to do that, but my kid's got a fucking baseball tournament in Arizona this weekend, and then next weekend it's in San Diego, and then the weekend after that it's in Vegas, and you know, everything is revolving around that. And I think we just came to a point where we're just like, yeah,
that's nice though.
Really like how life is for us.
How long have you been married for?
Be 10 years this year.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It seems like dudes in bands who are married for a long time, like myself and you, is that we get to be big kids and travel and play music and do all this shit, and we have an awesome woman like holding it down, man.
Yeah.
Mentally and everything, man.
It's crazy, man. Like I didn't start traveling a lot until maybe 9 years ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
9 or 10 years ago, right around the time we got married, we started traveling more and more and made it like an actual, like, hey, we're going to do this once, twice a year, every year, and actually enjoy it. Dude, I saw so much stuff when I would tour, and I saw so little when I would tour at the same time. You know,
100%,
like
dude.
you're kind of stuck to where the bus is parked, if you know what I mean.
100%,
and it's usually
man.
a city center, which has some stuff, but like you're not really like kind of getting a grasp for the culture and like the city and, you know, getting to see everything you want to see and take in. And, you know, I just remember like going to Rome for the first time and like literally trying to run around Rome in like 6 hours, trying to see everything I could before the gig.
Yeah,
and
for
it's just
sure. Been there.
impossible. Yeah.
Go to the Coliseum, do all that shit.
It's just impossible, you know, and like, I'm just
so true.
I've always been, in awe of history and geography and culture, and, you know, not getting to really experience any of that touring, just, you know, kind of getting like a quick glance of just like a quick like sip or a quick nibble. It's just
true.
It's not enough, you know,
especially on a bus too. And if you're staying up all night, your sleep is off, you're waking up like 2 a.m, maybe trying to see stuff like in Prague. Oh my God, Prague's amazing. You probably love Prague.
Never been.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you love Prague, dude. Oh my God, it's incredible. Also, like trying to go to the Eiffel Tower in Paris real quick. You've been there 100 times. You just want to go and bring somebody else, and you've been there for the first time, and get back for sound check and all that shit. Stressful.
Yeah.
So you're just going there with your lady traveling around. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's really good, man.
Yeah, she's a teacher, so she gets like long kind of extended.
Oh, the
breaks.
summers.
Yeah, the summers. We just had like almost 3 weeks for Christmas. She did.
Dang.
So we were just in the UK and Amsterdam for a couple of days. We went to Amsterdam.
That's nice.
Yeah. So every summer we're out for like 2.5, 3 weeks. You know, try and do something over the holidays, the Christmas holidays, and yeah.
And you're your own boss too, right? You do your own thing.
Yep.
Do you own a hair salon?
I don't. No, I just rent a chair. Yeah.
Well, okay.
Way better.
It's like barber chairs. Like okay, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to have anything to do with owning. Again, that's less freedom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing hair for?
So I got my license in 2000, the year 2000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I went to beauty school with Hav that used to play in 18B.
Okay.
Went to beauty school together, and like that was kind of like, you know, what I was going to do. I got into a salon like, you know, 2000, 2002, and the band started touring a bit more. And then 2003, I want to say, it was like, we're going to go full time touring. And I just kind of left that, and I got back into it, in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
I think I was just, in high school, like always fucking with my hair.
Nice.
And
you got good hair.
Thank you.
Good
I
hairline.
still have my hair.
He's got a good hairline. Yeah, bro, you're chilling, dude.
I was always fucking with my hair. I loved like the 80s, like androgyny, like I loved like the 90s, like bleached out with like the colors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just was into like different hairstyles, and not so much like fashion yet, but just like the hairstyle that went along with like the music, right? It was more about like the music vibe and what like the dudes in the bands looked like. And I always thought that was really cool. So
like the hair metal bands too and stuff like that.
Nah, you know, like I wasn't as into like the big,
or more Flock of Seagulls.
You know, that's a little. It was a little overboard, but like, yeah, I'm talking more like, I guess, like Bowie.
Oh yeah, sick.
You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just kind of
not Robert Smith.
Yeah, I did like a lot. I had the hair, the whole.
No way,
dude. I had like the long kind of like bangs in the front and like the duck butt. Black hair. It was kind of going on in San Diego too. A lot of like the 31G bands were rocking that hair.
Damn.
As well. Yeah.
So you had many hairstyles.
Yeah.
Did you have mohawks back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Okay, like spikes, all that stuff.
No Liberty spikes, but mohawks, faux hawks. Yeah. I had the rat tail mullet when I was in 4th or 5th grade.
Really? Because that
the lines in the side.
Dude, that's what people are rocking now, man.
Yeah,
you were ahead of the curve. That's crazy.
It just all cycles back is what happens.
Dude, there's so many people rocking mullets now with those lines in the side. Damn, so your inspirations were from all types of things. Skateboarding, punk rock, all kinds of music. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah, because you were kind of known for that, right? Having the cool hair too.
We were, yeah, and I think it just has to do with me and at the time Javier, when he was in the band, we were beauty school and like doing crazy shit with our hair, and me and Ken had worked at Banana Republic, so like
yes, yeah, I saw that.
So
yeah.
It was like pretty cheap for us to actually buy clothes there. We got such a sick discount, and we were just wearing the all black at the time, and the clothes were fitted, and yeah, it just kind of worked for us because we did have to buy the clothes to wear to work, right?
Yeah.
And like being in beauty school, you did have to wear all black.
Okay.
And I want to say when I first got in as an assistant, you had to kind of wear all black. So it just kind of was like, kind of ended up being the wardrobe by a mandate in a sense.
What year was that? What years?
That was like 99.
Yeah.
Beauty school, I started 99. So it was like 99 to 2002, and it just kind of stuck.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. With the hairstyles too, and like the different, just how they go in waves and they come and they go like that. It's wild, man.
Yeah, mullets are full on again.
They're full on, right?
Yeah.
And now you just have normal, regular long hair.
Yeah.
Are you done with doing wild hair now?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're man. You're a grown guy now.
Yeah. I mean, I've always wanted that like soft pink Lane Staley.
Lane Staley,
From the MTV Unplugged.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right and I can see it. Yeah,
and like I always thought that looked so cool. And like I see a couple of guys, like I follow different hairstylists on the gram and stuff, and I see some of these dudes that are, my age or close to it, that are rocking these like shorter cuts with like the colors and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, but I don't know, man. It's just, I don't want to go backwards for myself,
Yeah.
I'm kind of one of those guys that I feel like where I'm at now, like I feel comfortable and like confident with where I'm at, and I don't need to change a lot. I don't need to go with any flow. Just kind of myself at this point.
Because you've been through all the different phases of everything.
Yeah,
it's crazy. There's so many hardcore kids who have barbershops for the past 20 years now, like fully tatted kids running these barbershops. That's such a big thing too.
Yeah, it's cool,
own subculture and stuff.
Yeah, and it's freedom, and like you're not being told to look or dress a certain way, and like we obviously all got like crazy tattoos when we were like 17, 18 years old, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
The job stoppers,
on
the hands and the neck.
I don't think it even matters anymore, though, which is crazy.
It doesn't matter, man. Like, well, I guess it just depends on where you go. Like coming back from London through Heathrow security, like there was a dude there that had like, his mullet went down like probably almost to the middle of his back, and like he had it really short on top. His throat was tattooed. He had tattoos on his hands, and he's there checking people's bags and like,
dude, I love that
like,
shit.
Yeah, I thought it was so cool, man.
Damn,
so cool. But again, I think they're a little bit more progressive over there in terms of like the way that they're willing to let people look and like work jobs. It doesn't matter to them, if you can do the job,
Yeah, I think the TV shows had a big part of that though. Like putting tattoos in like just regular people's houses, like those like LA Ink and all that stuff, Miami Ink, just showing normal people getting tattoos and kind of breaking that stereotype.
Yeah,
I don't know. I feel like it really, like I have a UPS guy that comes all the time. He has a neck tattoo. There's a dude at Trader Joe's. He has his eyelids tattooed. I'm like, damn, bro, this is crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of cool.
I think people that do the hiring figure out like, hey, I'm going to give this guy a shot, right? And like, oh, he can do a job, and like he's reliable. He shows up on time, doesn't complain, does a good job. Like maybe gives extra effort. Like he's friendly, he's outgoing, like or just easy guy to work with. I don't have to worry about this guy. It's like having a bill on auto pay. I don't need to worry about that.
It's true.
You know what I mean? And so it's just I think. They realize that like the way that you look doesn't really matter
anymore.
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. Did you have cool hair in high school too?
No, man.
Were you the guy known with the cool hair?
No, man. I had these like dreadlocks that looked like
dreads.
Yeah, dude, it looked like cat shit.
Or like, I had dreads too in the 80s.
Like cat throw up, like
Damn.
Looked like hairballs. Yeah, dude.
They weren't good. They weren't long dreads. You were just kind of.
No, they weren't super long. So I would color my hair a lot. I had green hair, I had burgundy hair, and then I was coloring my hair black. And I want to say it was maybe junior year I started like growing the dreads out, and then Bloodlet came through town.
Oh shit!
And dude had like bleached dreads.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna bleach my hair. And so I bleached it, and like everything that had not previously been colored black was like bright white blonde, and then everything that was black was orange. So I had these like half blonde and then half orange dreadlocks, and it just looked like a cat threw up in my head.
Damn.
Yeah, and then I ended up I rocked those for a few months and then cut them off, and yeah.
I remember Tim from BOD had those bleach dreads.
Yeah,
those
yeah,
were
he
sick.
did. Yeah.
It was almost like a bob. They were kind of like short. Yeah. Damn, it's pretty wild, man.
I know. Yeah, so I did not have great hair in high school, I would say. Not until like my senior year.
And you weren't thinking in high school about being a hairdresser and all that stuff, right?
I did. My senior year, I started thinking about it. Yeah, I did.
But you were playing music at that time too,
I was, yeah.
So you started thinking, like, did you go to college?
No.
Okay. So what were your goals when you get out? To maybe do hair and do music?
Go to hair school. Okay. So like I got out of school.
Beauty school dropout.
Yeah, not me.
I know.
Got out of high school, worked a job on like an assembly line.
Okay.
For like a year, bought a car, and then once I did that, like ended up putting myself through beauty school. Got another job that was like at Banana Republic, working stockroom hours. So it was like kind of worked around like my school schedule.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long did you go to school for?
It was 1,600 hours at the time, so it's usually like 8-hour days or so.
Okay.
Yeah, but I took time off. Like for some reason, they let me take time off to like go tour. So like I would, tour 2 months or 2 weeks in the Christmas holiday, maybe a week or two in the spring break holiday, and then like a month in the summer or more. So it took me like a little bit longer to finish. But yeah, they gave me that like leniency, which is actually kind of crazy. They don't normally do that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Damn. And so 18 Vision starts playing shows when you're in high school with you singing?
Yeah, in high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the only band you've been in?
No. So after 18 Visions broke up in 2007.
Oh, I have that in here. Yeah.
I started like a solo project.
That's
like
right.
Just a straight up like rock, like radio thing, called Burn Halo. I wrote the first record with a songwriter in Tulsa. He was in a band called the Nixons.
I remember the Nixons. I remember the name.
Yeah, he's actually a big time songwriter now. He's done stuff for like Chris Daughtry and Carrie Underwood. And,
oh wow!
Yeah, he's big time now. But I did that for up until 2012, and then I kind of quit, and then got roped back into doing one more record and played like 2 weeks of shows, and I was just over it, man. Yeah. You
just loving being home and working and.
I was, man. Yeah, because I had that consistent like income and stability and like normal life, man. I really liked it, and like that's why I stopped touring with that band in the first place. Is that band really took off right away? We had like almost top 10 like active rock radio single. We were out with like Avenged and Buck Cherry and doing all these like crazy like rock tours. We were out with Korn and The Used, and we got really cool tours, and then like all of a sudden like it just hit a fucking wall. And
what year was that?
That was like later on in 2009, I think, that it hit the wall, and then we did a second record.
Is Epic Records one?
It was so for Burn Halo it was
top of this band.
It was I originally supposed to come out on Island Def Jam.
Damn.
And then I made a record with Island Def Jam, and then my A&R guy got let go.
Dude.
And then so I got dropped. They gave us the record.
Which is amazing. Wow, it never happens, dude.
Yeah, they gave us the record, and so my manager put it out through Warner Music Group.
Damn.
But of course, the same kind of thing happened on the last 18 Visions record. You get these suits that think they know the band and they know how to market it and they know what's right and they know what songs are going to be great and what's going to work, and they really have no clue, man. And it kind of the whole like Burn Halo thing got fucked up by them as well on the second record mainly. But yeah, it's just, it's a shame. It is what it is.
Yeah. Did you love doing the solo stuff and doing?
I did like it. It was just a very different beast playing like, proper like radio rock shows. Yeah. And it's just, there's
different world.
There's no scene. Mm-hmm. So you're only as hot as like your current song if you're a new band, right? Yeah. And it's really hard to build. It's hard to like maintain and sustain a fan base because they don't really buy records. They don't care about records. They care about the songs that they hear on the radio.
Absolutely,
and
man.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But the bands that have success at those active rock formats are usually the heavier bands because the fans latch on to like the heavy music, the guitars and
it's stuff interesting.
and stuff like that. So like they're more into like the record part of it versus like the majority of the listeners are in for like the song part of it, the singles. And yeah, it's just hard to sustain. And so it's just like this like up and down and push and pull, and there was never any stability with it. And so I just kind of got burnt out, and I was just looking for stability really. And so I just got back into hair.
Yeah. How was there a bunch of years where you were doing 18 Visions full time as your job?
Yeah. Yep.
I know you got started in 95.
Yeah.
And the first thing came out in 97, the Lifeless EP? Okay.
So like 2003 is when I feel like maybe like 2002. Yeah, it was 2002.
The Vanity record?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where we went full on touring.
Okay.
And like that was like, I was in a full-time band. We would go tour to tour
on
to
a
tour.
Bus?
We weren't bus yet. Actually, on that record, we did do one bus tour for one day.
One day?
We shared a bus with Biohazard.
What?
Yeah.
No way. One day?
One day.
Why, a van breakdown or something?
No. So it was the first show of the tour. Albany, New York.
What?
Opening for Kitty.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember that band. Wow.
And so Biohazard was main support. And
that's crazy.
I don't know what happened, but Evan would not come out of the back lounge.
Okay.
They didn't play the show.
What?
We had to drive straight from Albany to somewhere in New York to their lockout, drop off all their gear, and then the bus had to take us to a van rental place. So we had to rent a van. It was an
literally one
nightmare.
day on the bus. Wow.
Yeah, absolute nightmare.
And the Biohazard they're not on the tour at that point?
Nope, dropped off. And
you don't know why to this day? Wow, dude.
No, don't know why. And Sworn Enemy jumped on, which was amazing.
Shal Lorenzo, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was,
dude.
They made it like really, really fun. Yeah.
Oh, dude, those dudes were wilding back then too. That's amazing, man.
I can't remember who else was on that tour.
That's crazy.
But yeah, Sworn Enemy was on it. I think E-Town jumped on like at the end, like a week or two.
Oh, shit. That's a crazy tour.
Yeah.
Kitty was big, huh?
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
Damn. Were they on Victory now?
No, they were on a major.
Oh, they're a major. Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's so wild. So that was the first time on a bus just for the day?
Yep.
But you've been on a bus before, obviously. It's just crazy going from a van to a bus, dude. Like, when you finally get there in the bunks, oh, dude.
I know, it's nice, isn't it?
Dude.
I sleep like a baby.
Me too, man. I love it so much. But you got to do all that grinding in the van, staying in people's house. Obviously, that's part of it, dude.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if a lot of bands do that these days. I'm sure they do. It's just such a different grind back then.
I think it just depends on what level you're at. I see bands getting paid way more money now than they used to. Like
also tickets are higher too, though.
They are, because they have to be because of gas and I mean
since the pandemic for sure. Yeah.
And like you're not selling records anymore.
And T-shirts too.
I know,
dude. I've been this whole punk rock guilt thing where I'm selling T-shirts for like $20, and now I see like everybody's selling for $35 or $70 hoodies.
We do 30, man.
Yeah, because I did too now.
You know, we're printing on like comfort colors.
Best.
So that I love them. So the blanks are more expensive, and then if you're doing two sides, multiple colors, you end up looking at that invoice and you're like, oh, what the fuck?
The shirts are like over $8 at least, right? Yeah,
just the blanks themselves.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, you used to get them for like $3, you know.
That was Gildan, whatever they had back then. Yeah,
you used to get them for $3, and somebody would print for like less than $1. You know,
totally. But nobody. I know I've seen like Turnstiles hoodies for like maybe $80. Nobody even cares. Nobody complains about nothing.
Yeah, no,
I love
really
that,
don't.
dude.
Yeah,
because everything's changing, I guess.
Yeah. But
sometimes I'm just like, I'll always go on like Terra's website and see what they're selling their shit for, because I know they're still like out there killing it in the hardcore scene. So I'm like, okay, their hoodies are like $55. Okay, I'm good.
I feel a part of me feels guilty, but then like, you know, I see like the garments that we're printing on and they're nice. And then I look at the invoices and it's like not fucking cheap.
It's not, dude.
And then I remember back to like when I was going to shows and shirts were $10.
Yes.
And then you would go to a show and there would be that one band selling a shirt for $12. You're like, whoa, $12. Oh, that's a lot. Right.
Yeah.
And then it was like CDs were 10. And then there was that band that like was like, oh, CDs are $12. That's so weird. I don't have 12, I have 10. Oh, and then shirts were 15, and then there was the band that was, you know, pushing up to 20, and then, you know, and it just kind of started escalating. You would go to a show and they're like, well, there's one band doing $15 now. That's kind of a lot, right? And it just kind of like started progressing, and you know, and
then you can't undersell the band if you're opening up for them, right? You have to have the same price match.
Yeah, so like
for the listeners,
So we just recently played the House of Blues. We had a price match with a band, and like We had to sell our hoodies for $80.
So for the listeners, if you're opening up for somebody, you're on tour, I don't know if it's like a respect thing or you have to do it, but you can't undersell the band you're opening up for, I guess. That's what it is. Plus, they take percentage of your merch at House of Blues, right?
No, not anymore because it's Live Nation.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, it was sick.
Thank you, Live Nation. Wow.
Yeah, but...
that's the worst, to give like 20-30% of your merch.
I know.
Dude, the band gets...
Because when you're giving 20 or 30%, then you're giving 15% to management. Right? Yeah. Like, look at what you're losing off the top, right?
The band members are the last ones to make the money. It's so crazy. Everybody gets paid first. It's always been like that.
Yeah.
But the merch thing, that's interesting.
But I just felt like I felt dirty.
But nobody complained.
No, nobody complained, but I felt dirty myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's this weird kind of like punk rock, kind of hardcore. It's kind of some guilt thing. I don't know what it is, dude.
I'm like, dude, that's a Depeche Mode price. We're not Depeche Mode.
It's
you know
true.
What I mean?
Or Coachella t-shirt price.
Yeah.
Damn. So, you guys so the EP comes out. You guys already been playing shows, obviously, and getting like a name for yourself.
Yeah,
playing locally and shit. Yeah. And then, what was after that? Was there another EP after that, or
no,
7-inch?
We did a full length.
Yeah.
Yesterday's Time Killed.
Yeah, and that was 1999.
So I want to say, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 of those were ever pressed on CD. And that's it. So.
Who put that out?
This dude, Zach, that had this label called Cedargate.
Nice. Super random. I like it.
Yeah, super random. Yeah. Super local.
That's cool.
Yeah, he put out like a couple of like local bands. And yeah, we sent it to everyone and their mom. We sent it to Victory. We were really into the Hydra Head bands.
Okay.
Like Botch.
Oh, yeah, I remember Botch.
Yeah, Botch and Cave In and Jesuit. Like, we really liked all those bands. So we sent it there. And we sent it to, I think, Equal Vision. I mean, we sent it to everyone. And Trustkill was the only one to respond.
Wow.
But he was like, yeah, let's do 7-inch. And so we're like, yeah, cool. And
that
was kind of the introduction of Keith to the band. We were a 4-piece at the time, and Keith came in and did some guest vocals on that. And we brought him in at that point.
That's awesome. Yeah, Victory was the one back then too, man.
Yeah, we really wanted Victory.
I'm glad you didn't, though.
Yeah.
It was a good move. In hindsight.
I mean, in hindsight, but they really did build the bands, you know?
Oh, yeah, dude. Fucking ads everywhere. That was crazy, man. He was throwing money, yeah. So, yeah, Trustkill. Where's Trustkill based out of? It's East Coast, I know that.
Yeah, Jersey.
Jersey, yeah. Damn, that's crazy. And so then signed to them and then put that record out, yeah. And then you're on tour.
Yep, on tour.
Was it your first time going on tour when that came out? You only been playing locally?
The 7-inch.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would do like a West Coast run.
Yeah.
You know, and like maybe go up to Salt Lake.
Salt Lake was sick back then.
Phoenix, yeah, it was. I saw you guys in Salt Lake.
Really?
Yeah, dude. I was out visiting some friends.
What year, in the 90s?
Yeah.
I wonder who it was with. I think we were there at Shelter before with their, I don't know.
I don't remember who it was with. I think you guys might have.
It was a good show out there.
Yeah, it was.
Shows out there were sick.
Yeah,
man.
It was a good show.
Straight edge kids were awesome.
I want to say it wasn't like a hardcore show. You were with a different band.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Opening up for somebody.
Yeah, and so there wasn't a ton of hardcore kids there.
Boxcar we played there with.
But yeah, it was sick.
That's cool.
So yeah, we ended up doing like our first ever like tour on that 7-inch. Broke down outside of Salt Lake in Wyoming for like 3 days.
Brutal.
Missed a couple shows.
Dude.
Yeah, it sucked. Just saying, it's Evanston, Wyoming, I think it was called.
Did you guys have an actual physical map back then?
Yeah, we were doing the Thomas Guide,
dude,
with the printed out MapQuest directions.
Yes.
Yeah, dude.
Listen up, kids who are listening. Yeah.
And you would put them in a binder, and then as you would go from show to show, you would take them out, and like the binder would get smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's pretty cool.
We just talked about this like a month ago when we were out playing shows, and how easy navigation is now.
Oh, it's insane
and how
now.
Big of a nightmare it was back then trying to find some show like out in some random place on some unmarked fucking road, you know.
So true. But MapQuest, that was the shit. That's all we had, dude.
Yeah.
Damn. So different now. But that was like part of the whole experience and journey and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was fun, man.
Yeah.
And like you would save up money to go out on tour because you didn't make any money back then.
I know.
So you're saving your own funds and you were sleeping on people's floors.
Losing money.
Yeah, totally.
But you loved it. We loved it.
It was great.
We loved playing music, yeah. So you work a job in between at that point?
Yeah. So, so at that point, early on, I was in beauty school.
Okay.
And
still letting you go on tour and come back.
Working at Banana Republic, who so the GM, the store manager, was in like a rock band that would play like all the local, like
perfect,
like 21 and up, like Tiki Bar, places in LA and OC. And so he thought it was like super cool that me and Ken were like in a band. So
you're actually touring, yeah.
And he would let us go for as long as we wanted.
That's amazing, man.
He was rad.
Shout out to that guy, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Because he was doing local shit, and he probably really wanted to do what you guys were doing too. He's like, yo, these guys go do it.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, he was cool.
So you go back and forth to your job, which is always nice. And then when's it really start picking up and becoming like something for you guys? Like this is going to be like I guess career. I don't know if people really think like a career when you're in a band. But.
Yeah, I don't even know if we were thinking career at that point because it would have been 2000 with Until the Ink Runs Out.
Yeah.
We played that Hellfest that got shut down. And I remember standing on top of our van, like slinging CDs left and right. Like
which Hellfest? The Syracuse one?
Yeah.
Damn, that was legendary fest.
It got shut down. And
why?
Permits, fire code.
Okay.
I'm not really sure.
That was the original Hellfest.
So it was at the Lost Horizon.
Yes,
and so we had played the year before at the Lost Horizon.
Okay,
and that was also sick, much smaller. But this had just like, if that was like, let's just say if the one in '99 we did 1,000 people, the following year it was going to be like 2,500 people.
Damn.
And so it just didn't have, and I don't know if that's why it got shut down, but they were able to move it the next day, and so it became a 2-day thing, but they lost a lot of the bands because it was a 3-day.
Yeah.
They were on tour, and it's just like if you're playing the Friday, you're playing Saturday in I don't know, Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, it's rough.
So they lost a lot of the bands, but that was amazing. And from there, the band just started like getting a lot more shows and trying to like actively tour more. We had like a real booking agent.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Hellfest, that was such an important festival. I always forget about that. The original Hellfest, man.
Yeah.
That was legendary shows there, man. I don't know how many times it happened, but
7.
Okay.
Somewhere around there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ended up moving to Jersey.
Who did?
The Hellfest did.
Okay.
Yeah, they moved it to Jersey, like Rec Center. I don't know how.
Who put that on? Was it
this dude Keith?
Okay.
Yeah, he's still around. Yeah.
It wasn't a record label, nothing. It was just some promoter.
Yep.
Damn.
Just some hardcore kid, straight edge kid.
Damn, when Earth Crisis would play that. Path Resistance might have played that.
Keith in Hell.
Keith in Hell is his name?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Dillinger. Botch on it. Can't remember. Cave In, Converge.
So who else was signed to Trustkill at that time? That you knew of?
Yeah, so that we knew of when we signed, it was like Harvest.
Oh, yeah.
And was Endeavor on Trustkill? I can't remember.
Sounds like it.
Harvest was one of them for sure. And right around the time we signed, Brothers Keeper was on Trustkill.
Oh yeah, Mike Ski. Shout out to Mike Ski.
Yeah, I love Mike Ski.
Damn.
He signed us, Walls of Jericho, and Poison the Well.
Oh, sick.
All right around the same time.
Damn.
Yeah. And then shortly after that, I think it was like Throwdown, Bleeding Through, Terror. Yeah.
Terror was on Trustkill? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's crazy.
Yep.
What were some of the influences then for your band and your music and your sound at that point?
At that point, we were...
Or when you really found your sound?
I think...
Like which record or which...
It was on Until the Ink Runs Out that we started because Keith was brought into the band.
Yeah.
Keith brought this like 90s like kind of punk grunge vibe with him.
It's cool.
And so he started like bringing in like heavy like Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, like Nirvana riffs into like this metalcore stuff we were doing.
Yeah.
And so we started incorporating like more of these like rock parts, and then I kind of figured out I could sing a little bit, and then on the next record we went like a little bit more melodic and less chaotic.
Yeah.
And it just kind of started to progress from there.
Yeah. Did you take singing lessons?
I ended up taking singing lessons not until like 2003. We were working on the Obsession record.
Who was it with?
It was with this dude, Mark Rank.
Okay.
And then in 2005, we were working on the self-titled record, and Matt from Avenged had referred me to this guy, Ron Anderson. Who's
legend, dude.
Legend, man. R.I.P.
Bro. Oh, he passed. Oh, I didn't know that.
Dude, I looked, man. I was like, I wonder what Ron's up to. And I checked in on him like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years ago, around this time, around the holidays. Maybe it was a year ago. I can't remember. I just know it was around the holidays. And I checked on his Instagram page and saw that he had passed away. But
I did not know that.
That dude, I took five sessions with him, and he changed my life.
Yeah.
So I'm forever grateful for that dude because, I
know Matt had some issues too, and he helped him.
Yeah, I did. It's not that I knew I could sing, but I didn't know how to sing.
Yeah, where to sing from? Yeah, for sure. Were you ever lose your voice on tour?
Oh yeah.
Same, dude. It's the worst. Dude.
Yeah, I used to lose it from like allergies, obviously like head colds, stuff like that. And then I remember being on tour in 2006, and we had just some random like teching for us, and he smoked, and I was like, no smoking on the bus at any point. And he was up smoking in the very front section with the bus driver, and the smoke went like into my bunk through a vent,
of course,
and it ruined me for like 2 days.
Damn.
Yeah, man. I was just
the fucking worst.
Ruined me for 2 days. I also realized that as a singer, you need to sleep.
So important. It's the number one thing we need more than anything, more than honey or tea.
So you can't stay up late. You can't talk all night. You can't wake up and talk in the morning. You can't talk all day at the shows. It sucks. You can't really hang out.
You can't, dude.
I learned when I really wanted to take myself seriously as a singer, I couldn't hang out with everybody as much as I wanted to because I needed to take care of my voice.
Absolutely.
If I couldn't sing, we were canceling shows. People are disappointed. The band loses money.
Counting on you.
Yeah.
It's so true. People think it's like drink your honey and tea, which is fine. But I went to Melissa Cross, Screaming in Zen. If you heard of Melissa Cross.
Yeah.
It's just about not talking, dude. There would be times on tour that I have a notepad and I wouldn't talk the whole day because my voice is being weird. I was so hypochondriac, stressing about my voice that I would write notes in the van, wouldn't talk to anybody the whole day.
Yeah.
And just chew gum, keep your shit moist. But like sleep is so crucial. But it's really hard if you're not on the bus. It's really hard to like stay on your sleeping. It's really hard,
dude.
man.
We were just out like a couple months ago. We just did 3 shows, right?
Yeah.
But like what I found was like that I was getting to sleep at like 2 or 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Normally I go to sleep at like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So I was like sleeping at like 2 or 3 a.m. and then having to wake up at like 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
You know, and then like not being able to sleep in like a minivan while we're traveling.
Yeah. Hang on a second. We're going to stop for 1 second. We're back in the podcast. Rudely interrupted by my son Max making oatmeal and trying to flex. But how you doing? We were talking about losing your voice. We were talking about doing warm-ups and learning how to actually sing from the right spots. Obviously, when our bands first started, we were playing these venues with like no monitors, these DIY venues where you're over singing to hear yourself. It's not right.
No, that's another good way to blow your voice out.
Yeah.
The no monitors thing. I've kind of learned to navigate shitty monitors.
Yeah.
I just realized I just kind of have to trust like that I am giving the right output and
where you're singing from too. It's really important.
Exactly. And just not push too hard because when you do, it's just bad things happen.
Because people think it comes from just your throat, but it's coming from.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So once you figure that out, you never lost your voice again, really?
Just usually with bad monitors or poor sleep.
Sleep is the worst.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just booking too many shows without a day off.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually I've found it's usually just the lack of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when you get older too. It's super. Do you sleep good at night usually?
Usually, yeah.
Like 8 hours?
Yeah.
You have a set bedtime? You like pretty regimented on your life?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, usually asleep anywhere depending on how shot I am for the day between like 8:30 and 10.
Yeah.
And then up at 5.
And then how many clients you having per day?
It just depends. It depends on like what the service is. If it's like all haircuts, I can bang out like 8. I usually work 8-hour days.
Yeah.
If it's all like colors, it ends up usually being like 4 or 5 clients.
That's when you book your own. It's like book whenever you want.
Yeah, just do all my own stuff.
Are you doing Monday through Friday?
Tuesday through Saturday.
Okay.
Usually, yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
And we talked a little bit off the pod. I was just looking at your tattoos and stuff that you were a vegan back in the day. You got really into it, like at a young age.
Yeah, from like 15 to 20.
All because of hardcore?
Yep.
Damn. And you never thought about being vegetarian, nothing like that until you found hardcore?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
I know.
It's crazy when I'm thinking about how the world's so changed now and there's vegan options everywhere. The impact on hardcore music, not like the mainstream world knew what these bands were singing about, but it's crazy to see it all coming to life now with all the options and the world changing.
Dude, being vegan in the mid to late 90s was awful.
It was brutal.
Awful.
There was nothing to eat.
Nothing.
Maybe there was like tofu pops, or I don't know what they had back then. It was really it was nothing. It was, especially touring too.
Yeah, it was really,
Taco Bell, no cheese, whatever.
Really bad. Yeah. And so you're just eating poor foods.
Totally.
Putting just terrible shit in your body.
A lot of carbs.
Yeah.
And it was like no Chipotle. There was really nothing back then. But were you vegan for the animals strictly?
Yeah.
Yeah. All from maybe Earth Crisis? That the one?
Yeah, Earth Crisis is it, man. Yeah.
But you went super hard. Were you super militant too?
Not like, well, I did like get into.
You were blowing up fur factories and shit.
Not fur factories, but like I was definitely doing some shit with a couple friends.
Okay.
That
you were hardcore about it.
Got pretty gnarly about it. Yeah, but I was, again, I was like a young, impressionable teenager with a lot of like, going back to earlier in the conversation, a lot of like angst from, the divorce, I was dealing with, and just all of the,
And your parents drank too as well, right?
My dad did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that didn't really.
That inspired you to be probably drug free?
It did inspire me, yeah, but it didn't really like affect me as a kid. It wasn't until like I was a teenager and he wasn't even around drinking around me.
Yeah.
But it just really kind of put me off.
Yeah, so then Earth Crisis, you was hardcore. You were vegan or vegetarian?
I think I went vegetarian first and then straight vegan, and then I went vegetarian again, and then full like meat when I was like 20, 21, around there.
We just kind of over it?
Yeah, I think so. I think what happened was like I was just like I had some friends that like got arrested for doing like some stuff, and like I was kind of at the mindset where like if I'm not gonna do that and I'm not willing to risk that, then I'm like not doing enough. So what's the point? Kind of thing. And then I stopped eating meat again. Gosh, maybe 7 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I just kind of stuck to fish, which is still pretty much the case. I've become a little bit more of a when in Rome person. I won't eat pork.
Yeah.
But I'll have like steak or beef a handful of times a year, but it's got to be like the best quality. I'm not, going to McDonald's and ordering cheeseburgers, just to pound cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
I don't make it at home or anything like that. Yeah. It's like, would be like at a high end restaurant and like just really good quality stuff if I was going to do it.
Yes. You were touring as a vegan back then.
Yeah.
Brutal, dude.
Yeah, dude.
People don't understand how hard it was, man. And the sacrifices everybody made for the animals. It's pretty interesting, man.
Yeah.
So, but now you just kind of just eat whatever. That's smart when you're traveling and stuff.
Yeah. Like if I'm in Italy and like, so the first time I had meat on holiday with my wife.
Was it the first time ever eating meat or no?
No, it was that was the first time I've ever done it like on holiday and like.
On holiday,
ever.
Yeah,
and
not
I was
on
just
tour.
like, I was in Italy and we were in Florence and I was like, you know what, I'm going to order a steak. And I did, and it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was like not necessarily like worth it.
Yeah.
It was okay, but like it wasn't like my friend Jeff makes these like amazing steaks just at home, and it was like nowhere near that level.
Yeah. And so okay, let's get back to 18 Visions. So you're touring. We talked about playing Syracuse, playing the Hellfest, and then after that, I think there's like a 2-year gap, I think, too, between until it runs out with or Vanity, correct? Until the ink runs out, there's a gap between those.
Yeah, we
put 2 years maybe. I think
we put
maybe.
Out like
the best of.
Yeah, which was like just re-recordings of like older songs and like one new song.
Yeah, and then Vanity came out, and is that still in Trustkill?
Yeah. Yep.
Because no, you had the Epic Records was later.
Yep.
Was Vanity a big record for you guys?
Yeah, it was a weird record for us. I mean, they all kind of ended up being weird records for us because we were just always evolving musically.
Changing it up each record. Yeah.
We just never,
I like that.
We never wanted to stay the same. And so
love it.
I think, we had this like really like killer like metalcore sound with Until the Ink Runs Out.
Yeah.
Where we were incorporating rock riffs and people were like digging it. And then, like I said, it was like more melody and like less chaos. And
more singing,
yeah. Yeah, I think that put a lot of people off initially. And so it's kind of like a rebrand in a sense.
Yeah.
Some people were on board, some weren't, but you know, I feel like for everyone that left, we got new fans. But
absolutely.
I think, you know, I look at a band like Lamb of God, right? And they don't put the same record out every time.
They don't.
But they don't necessarily completely change their sound. You know, they got a little bit, I think they started to shift a little bit on Sacrament, right? Kind of got a little bit more Pantera-ish. But I thought that was cool. I liked that. And so a band like that's not really gotten too wild with like trying to like do different things with like their music direction, but able to like still put out like banger records that don't sound the same, has been able to obviously grow into this like massive fucking metal band, right? And like grow the following from like the ground up and like keep, I would say, a vast majority of the fans that they initially like had, right?
Yeah.
And so for us, we weren't able to keep a vast majority. We were always losing and then gaining, and
every record,
losing and gaining and losing and gaining. Yeah.
But I like it because you didn't want to just make the same record over. A lot of bands get stuck in that kind of like a hamster in a circle. They're just like going through the motions, putting the record out, got to get the tour money, got to get the new merch, got to get the, just to like stay touring. They like pumping out these records like every year, and then it's doing whole new cycles and just kind of like same thing just to keep going and keep touring. You know what I mean? It's spitting it out.
Yeah. And one thing for Keith too, was he was doing 18V and Throwdown at the time, right?
Yeah.
And like he had ended up moving to guitar for Throwdown, and I feel like it got to a point where he had to choose because both of our bands were full time.
Yeah.
Right. And he chose 18 Visions because it gave him musical freedom.
Okay.
It wasn't like Throwdown had a very specific sound and a vibe and like a message like behind, their music and what the band was. 18 Visions didn't. We were very much like, lyrics were super personal. They were like artistic, a little bit more abstract. Musically, we were an anything goes type band. We welcomed like ideas from like, Ken liked some some like electronic stuff or acoustic stuff, and like you want to bring that in, cool, like let's try that out. And like
I love that, man.
We didn't really say no, and I think Keith liked that a lot. That it was just very, very free. Musically, you could kind of just express yourself and do whatever you wanted.
I love that a lot because a lot of bands are scared to try something different because we're not just listening to hardcore and punk all day long. We listen to everything. So like I felt that way too, like doing a major label record and maybe trying to sing, getting singing lessons, and maybe, I don't know, we have a record that's like kind of overproduced I don't really like, but people like it. But I sang more, you know what I'm saying? We try to try something different. But I feel like now with like, there's so many bands that have all different influences, you can hear them all. It's not just one sound. I love that people aren't afraid to. But you were doing it back then. It's just like, this is what we're into right now. This is what this record's about. We're not trying to like make everybody happy. We're trying to make ourselves happy as well, and let's put it out and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think too,
it's kind of really cool.
I think too, writing new music now with Keith is we kind of like are done fully experimenting. I think with like trying to bring in different like genres of music. He's been able to really like form this sound that is like 18 Visions.
Yeah.
And the experimenting, I think, comes from like different like tones and textures. And like creating different like atmospheres and vibes. Yeah. But not bringing in like a new like genre of music that, hey, like let's test the waters on this and see how this goes, right? Yeah. It's more messing with like tones and textures.
You have your sound, your style now, yeah. And then your lyrics and stuff is just whatever is going on in your life at that time. Each record.
or just I don't have a lot of negative shit going on, so a lot of it is like writing in retrospect. Just kind of looking back on certain things and situations, and diving back into that, and how did I feel when I was going through that. Yeah,
it's probably been very therapeutic for you too, as well. Writing
it is, especially when you get older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think about some of the stuff you were writing about back then, or some dark times or stuff that you're going through? And
yeah, I do. Especially like stuff on like the earlier records, like with just like my like I said, all the stuff I was going through as a teenager.
Yeah.
And like, different relationships I've had in the past that had like a negative impact on me, or, maybe kind of shaped like what kind of person I am today. Yeah. So just kind of diving back into that stuff and, maybe how I look at it now and how it made me feel, and, how it changed me as an individual.
I feel like you're in a good place in your life now.
Yeah.
You seem like you're like you seem a very chill person.
I've always been pretty chill, I think. Yeah. I'm like the yin to Josh James's yang.
Okay.
Right? Like he's so like, intense, which I love.
I
love
know
that about him. I love his energy.
He is,
right?
dude.
Like his energy's 110. Like
I forgot he plays in 18 Visions too. That's right.
Yeah.
He used to live downstairs. He's like one of our best tenants ever, dude.
Yeah.
Josh is incredible. He has so much life. His energy. Yeah. He's just always like, he's always grabbing you and punching you or something.
Yep.
Josh is the best, dude. He's been in the game for a long time, dude. A long time.
Great.
And we were just talking before too about like him going through it too, jumping on stage all these years, because there's no retirement in this music. That's why it's nice you have an actual career to fall back on too, with medical benefits and all that shit.
Yeah.
But I was asking what you wear on stage because you're wearing these dope ass Roshis right now. No, I usually wear like Docs or something, but like it's crazy. It's jumping up and down all these years and the effects. That's why I have to stay in shape and keep ourselves young and stretch. And
it's crazy, man. Greg, he sings for Better Lovers. He was in Dillinger Escape Plan. If you're not familiar with Better Lovers yet,
okay,
that dude is like, he's a couple years younger than me, 43-ish, and that dude's still like an animal on stage.
Damn,
and like throwing himself into the crowd like constantly.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude. Like it just looks miserable, man. Like landing on a bunch of bodies. I mean, the vibe is fun, right?
Totally.
But like the aftermath, waking up the next morning, like
I know,
dude, you got to feel like shit.
I see Keith Morris on stage. He's like mid 60s, wearing like Vans, still going crazy on stage, bro. Him, Agnostic Front, all these bands, like these older bands. It's so inspirational. Obviously, Descendants are still playing. Just seeing these bands is still fucking killing it, dude. Yeah. It's really inspiring, man.
I mean, Vogel's in his 50s.
Vogel's like 52, 53. Yeah. Dude, looks amazing, too. He quit drinking. He's like all skinny. He runs and shit. Like, he's the legend in the game, man. What like, I think of hardcore. I think if it's one person, I think of Scott Vogel, who embodies all of it, dude. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, he lives it. He's like, it's his everything. Yeah. Obviously, we're hardcore kids, too, but we have, different things. Like, I have a wife, I have a kid, I have all that stuff, but
but he's been doing it for so long.
Married to the game,
never stopped,
bro.
Man.
I know, dude.
Absolute legend. Yeah.
Is there one record that was a really big record for you guys that like broke for you guys with 18 Visions?
Well, it was Obsession. Really.
Obsession, 2004 after Vanity. Yeah.
That's the one where we started getting like heavy like music video play. Started getting bigger tours. I know we talked off the record before we started this about Him, the band Him.
Yes.
We did their first ever U.S. tour supporting like the release of Obsession.
Okay.
I think we did like a Kill Switch tour.
Dope. Both those bands signed by Mike Gitter. That's crazy. He said that.
Gitter,
Gitter. He's a legend in the game too since 93. Yeah. He told me on the pod the one band he fucked up on, he passed on My Cam, which is crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
He's bummed on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I talked about it with him. So Obsession was the one that kind of was like getting all the tours and.
Yeah, it really kind of like took the band to another level. We were getting good like international touring and like good international support.
Was that the first time doing a lot of international stuff?
It was, yeah.
You didn't go to Europe much until then, really?
We went one time before with Throwdown in like 2002, I think, or
that's crazy.
It was like it was I think it was 2002 with Throwdown. It
was amazing.
Like yes and no. Like I mean, it was an amazing time, right?
Yeah, like going to Europe for the first time,
right? And like with all of like your best friends, right? It was an amazing time. Shows were like hit and miss. There was some incredible shows, and then like we spent a lot of time in Germany. So we were
of course.
Playing, like,
there's so many shows
playing
there.
Like little villages you never even heard of, and there's just like 15 people there.
True.
Right?
Dude, little small towns.
Yeah. So
we guys in vans or sharing a bus?
We were in two vans.
Damn,
and like getting hotel rooms. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Did you ever do a bus tour with just you guys?
Yeah. Oh, loads.
Dope. Awesome.
Yeah, especially overseas, man.
Okay. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But in the U.S. too?
Yeah.
Damn, that's
yeah,
awesome.
A couple. Yeah.
Was that later on, like around Obsession time?
It was, yeah.
That's cool, man. He did some big tours with that, and that's still Trustkill.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was initial Trustkill release, and then that's when it got upstream to Sony and Epic. They kind of like took over some of like the marketing and some of the handling of like, marketing, promo, funding, stuff like that.
And he toured on that for like a long time, Obsession?
Yeah, a couple years.
Yeah.
Because
it's like a gap between, is it like a self-titled record? That's Epic Record ones, I think, right?
Yeah, that was Epic. That was 2006.
And that's the last one.
Yep.
You guys just burnt?
So, I mean, what happened was we wrote like, again, like, a different record. There was minimal screaming on it. It was like a really like kind of heavy, like rock album. It had like arena sing-alongs.
Damn.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where we had some like heavier songs that were like single quality.
Yeah.
But we also had some like songs that had like pop elements to them, and Epic came in and saw like dollar signs, and they wanted a certain song to be the first single. We fought them on it like tooth and nail. Our A&R guy fought them on it tooth and nail, and at the end of the day, we all lost. They won. Basically, they gave us an ultimatum, like, sure, you can have that song as your single, and you're going back to the distro label, and you're not getting the push that we will give you.
Dude.
Or you can have the song we want. We're going to give you more money for the marketing and the video and everything, and we're going to push the hell out of it. And so they did that.
Wow.
It was the wrong song. Radio, there was resistance from a lot of radio stations. They came out and saw the band. We were on tour with Avenged Sevenfold, and like, we're not just playing songs off that record. We're playing songs off Vanity and Obsession. And they're like, oh, this is a heavy band. Like, maybe we should switch to the single that they wanted. So we switched. And
oh shit, they listened.
They did listen, but at that point it was too late. The song, I think, peaked like around 15 at rock radio. It would have gone top 10, maybe top 5, but there was resistance from a lot of stations because they were like, well, we just added the other track, so we're not going to add this one.
Yeah.
And then music video wise, like MTV, Headbangers Ball, Fuse, they were playing the first video.
Wow.
While the second single was like active, and like they should have been playing that video. It was dark, it was gritty, like Damn. It had like a Nine Inch Nails like vibe to it. The other one was like poppy and like bright and like so nothing lined up. They like really fucked it up.
Damn.
And then at the top of the year, I remember being on tour in the fall over in Europe, and like Ken and Keith being like, yeah, if this record like doesn't hit, like I'm kind of done. Like I don't want to do it all over again. Right?
Yeah.
And so rather than just like take a year off or something and like, recollect, thoughts and ideas and kind of just like regroup, that was pretty much it. We were in, I think, Australia with like doing the Soundwave Festival.
Oh, Soundwave,
like,
yeah.
We did like 4 or 5 dates, off dates with Deftones and Thrice.
Ooh,
and we got the notification that we were being dropped.
No way.
Or something like that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And so that was it, man. We played like a few more shows and scheduled like 2 final shows, and that was that. Yeah,
Damn.
Until like 2017.
It's great. And so you guys just all go home, and do you stay in touch for those years?
Yeah,
or?
totally.
Yeah.
Loosely, but like, yeah.
You just doing the hair stuff. You just straight in that?
No, I went straight back. Oh
yeah, you solo. You knew thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I went kept straight into music. Yeah.
Fuck.
Ken started doing tech work. He's now Zed's tour manager, and Keith just went and got back into graphic work.
Wow, man. Yeah. So how long does your solo thing go for?
Like 2008 to 2000, or I guess I started in 2007.
Yeah,
so 2007 to 2012, and then I kind of like got my beak wet again for a record and some shows.
Yeah.
2015, I was like fully done.
Damn, man.
Yeah.
And then what made you guys come back for 2017?
So 2016, Keith had reached out to me, and like we had written some music.
Were you missing it? Like being on tour and that?
No, not necessarily.
Yeah.
I was missing being creative.
Yeah.
We had worked on, Keith and I, some songs in 2012 or 13. And then Mick had passed away. And it was just me and Keith working on the music. And then Mick had passed away. And we were talking about like getting the band back together. And we like really like pumped the brakes. And like that was it. Damn. And then he circled back with me maybe a couple of years later. And we worked on a couple of songs and finished them.
Yeah.
And then that was it. And then in 2016, what it was at that point, we wanted Ken to start writing music.
Yeah.
And Ken like said he would, but didn't end up writing music. And so if he wasn't going to contribute, it wasn't really going to be 18 Visions for us. Right.
Yeah.
And so Keith hit me up one day, 2016. He's like, hey, dude, what are you doing musically? And I was like, nothing. He's like, dude, do you want to finish some of the songs we're working on? I was like, yeah, cool. So I get together with them and start like jamming these songs, and we get Trevor in the mix. And we basically like write a record. And I was like, dude, so like, what do you want this to be? And he's like, well, I don't know. I hadn't thought about it. I was like, well, how about 18 Visions? He's like, well, I don't know. Ken. So we asked Ken. Ken's like, oh, I can't do it. And so Keith was like, yeah, no, Ken's not involved. I don't know. And as the record was like being completed, I was like, so like, what is this? Right. And he's like, well, I don't really know. And I was like, if we play shows, do you want to play 18 Visions songs? Cause there's 3 of us from the band. He's like, yeah, I do. I was like, okay. So there's 3 of us from 18 Visions playing 18 Visions songs and going to release a record that sounds just like 18 Visions. Like we're only fooling ourselves, right?
Totally.
And so I think when I put it that way, it kind of made a lot of sense.
Totally.
And so it was just like, yeah, all right. 18V's back, and we ended up getting a record deal with Rise, a one-off deal.
Rise Records, a that label,
a one-off deal. Put the record out, played a few shows, and it was back on. Game on.
Were people stoked you're back? Was
totally?
It? Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that was a long gap, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck. So, you guys, did you tour on that?
We did. Yeah, we went over to the UK, did a few shows. Did weekend gigs, which is what we mainly do now.
Yeah.
We'll go fly out different part of the country,
nice.
Play 3 or 4 shows.
Easy,
call it
bro.
A day. Yeah. And like, that's just, I think it's really like conducive to our personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no pressure. Like at this point now we're like a total DIY band.
Yeah.
We put everything out ourselves.
That's amazing.
Keith produces the records. I manage the online store. Keith does the graphic design. I handle like the ordering, the vinyl, all that. We have a booking agent we work with, but like,
that's cool.
We're a full DIY band in terms of like product, right?
Yeah.
And like releasing the product.
Are you big on like designs and merch and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You're very hands-on with that?
Yeah, totally. It's important for sure. And I think we just like the freedom and like the fact that like there's no pressure on us. Nobody like saying you need to play these shows, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to sell this many records.
You've been through all that already, dude.
Yeah, it's just for fun now, and like we go out and we obviously like need to make a little bit of money when we go out and play because for me and like I know for Dan now too, like we're leaving like our jobs at home where we do make income, especially on the weekends.
100%.
So
that's true. The weekends,
so we need a little bit in return, but it doesn't have to be like a crazy amount of money. It doesn't have to be something like you can like we're trying to like live and retire off of, right? It's just like a passion thing. We're in our 40s. We still love like hardcore and metal, and we still love like the energy of being on stage and creating music and creating a vibe and connecting with fans and other bands, and I think that's like the driving force.
Yeah, and I feel like now that hardcore's thriving, it feels like it's bigger than ever, dude.
Yeah,
there's so many bands and young bands and probably new people getting into you guys for the first time, and it's really a beautiful time for hardcore itself, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even if we're not touring as much as we used to tour, just going to shows and seeing all the diversity, it's just like, fuck, man. It's pretty unreal, man.
Yeah.
And it's all different sounds. Like there's not one style or sound of hardcore. There's no blueprint. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it could be Hatebreed's a hardcore band to somebody. you know, and H2O may be a pop punk band to somebody else. It's whatever you see it as, melody or whatever. Like I don't know. It's interesting how all the genres are and stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it?
It doesn't really matter, man. But it's so like, it's just fun to play shows and so many young kids coming out. And we opened up for Drain and Terror at fucking Palladium and Angel Dust. It was insane crowd. It was just like, it's just a beautiful time. I don't know, man.
Yeah, some good bands.
Some really good bands.
Yeah.
Are you checking out new bands and stuff like that?
I try to. Yeah.
Do you go to shows?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I try to get to as many as possible. It's hard to like, you know, I'm not like a Friday, Saturday night guy because I work on Fridays and Saturdays, and I take my first client on Saturdays at 7.
Damn, dude, you're
so
toast.
Like Saturday afternoon, dude, I'm just cooked. So like Sunday's a great gig night for me.
Mm-hmm.
Monday's a great gig night for me, but they're not like, you know, there's not a ton of gigs, you know,
on those days,
right?
Yeah,
not here at least, right? Those are like the Des Moines, Iowas, right? Getting those gigs.
Those are the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know why we never took off Mondays on tour. People do that now, but like, do you have days off? Do you need days off for singing? When you were touring Hart, were you taking days off or just straight shows?
No, but like, I think, yeah, we were doing straight shows for the most part. I think
brutal,
if it was days off, it was usually like a drive day.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a rest day vocally.
Yeah.
Which now if I was doing a full-time band now where I was touring like, you know, 200 days out of the year or more, or even 100 days out of the year really, I would definitely like demand a rest day like every 3 shows.
Yeah.
You know?
We're doing that. We did 2 European tours last summer, 9 shows in a row in a van, no days off. We did it twice last summer. We were fucking wrecked, man.
Yeah.
I got to do days off moving forward, dude. My guitar player is 61 years old, bro. It's like we need 1 day off. We were doing these crazy drives. It's just, we're too old for that. I don't know. It's not worth it. We're so used to that grind, though. I don't know.
I know. Mentally, you think you can do it and you want to do it.
Yes.
Right? Like
when you confirm it months in advance.
Mentally, I want to do it. Right. It's like,
but when it gets down to it,
it's like, dude, it's like buying tickets for me to like a gig on a Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah.
Mentally, I want to do it. And in the moment, I'm like, oh shit, like for the children tickets. Okay. I want to go. Okay. You're announcing the lineup. Okay. I'm going to go see Mind Force. Like I really want to see Mind Force.
Me too. I missed him that day. You went?
Yeah, I did.
Fuck.
Sick.
They played on Saturday. Damn,
and so like, I was like, I really want to go. But then like Saturday, I'm getting off of work. And I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go.
Damn,
you know,
dude,
but I went, right? But that happens to me 9 times out of 10 where I buy tickets to a gig and like in the moment it sounds like the best idea, but then like once the date of arrival has come, dude, and my mind is telling me yes, my body's telling me no, and when my body starts telling me no, my mind starts telling me no too. Yeah,
I feel that.
So
that's like confirming shows like 6 months ahead, and then when it comes down to that time, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to leave, like it's a Europe thing or something, like. Yeah. And I told my band, and this year I promise I'm not going to do that where I say yes to everything, and then last minute and we cancel something. I don't want to cancel shit this year, but we always say yes to too much shit, and then we get down to it, it's like, bro, I love being home, I love being comfortable. It's just like, I don't know. What's the most shows in a row you guys who play now, you think? 5?
I could probably do 5, but but I don't know if I could do an hour set. Like I don't know if I could do like 5 headliners in a row, unless the set list was like strategically like
for sure
built right, because there's some songs that are just, I don't know what I was doing when I was younger. I just wrote to every single part. Like I didn't let the music breathe, you know. And so now like getting on stage and like trying to do that and like move around and engage, right? Like I can sit there at rehearsal in one spot and just rip through it, no problem.
Totally.
But the second you start moving around and you get that intensity and the adrenaline, like it just gets a little bit harder, you know.
100%.
Like I can make it through no problem 1-2 shows in a row. It's the third show that's, you know, creeps in where you're just like, shit, this is a little hard, and like you factor in the lack of sleep and like the diet and like you know, just the elements, right?
Even if your cardio's on point, it's still different.
The fatigue, that third show is where it starts to get tough. So could I do 5 in a row? Yeah, probably. Like 1 hour headliners if it's like the set's built the right way. Mm-hmm. You look at like a 40-45 minute set, like I could do 5 in a row.
Love those, dude.
No problem. Yeah, all day long.
Yeah, running around and singing is way different, man.
Yeah.
Than just You just mentioned too, like your diet, right? Because now you train all the time, and you're probably in the best shape of your life. You feel like?
Yeah, I think close to it. I think maybe a couple years ago was like peak, but
your
like,
diet's always been off, and you just change your diet. Now you feel like you're like it's so important with working out.
Yeah, I mean, I make a couple of tweaks, and within like 6 weeks, like I'm in a sweet spot.
Had you gained weight and you just kind of changed the whole thing around? Or you always been training throughout your whole life?
Training my whole life, but not with intention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like not really knowing what I'm doing. There's no real purpose behind it other than like, oh, I'm supposed to go to the gym and lift weights and like do cardio, right?
Yeah.
But like not incorporating the diet portion into it.
So
not
important.
having like a shitty diet, but like not having a good diet either.
Yeah.
Like, I can eat whatever. I can eat this. I can eat that.
Because I am working out.
Right, exactly. But if you incorporate the diet along with the working out and the sleeping, like you can make changes pretty quickly.
Faster, yeah. Like you could rock no shirt on stage and feel comfortable?
Right now?
Yeah.
Nah, give me like 6 weeks.
Would you do that? Yeah.
I wouldn't feel terrible. Especially considering I'm 45.
Totally.
Like, you give me 6 to 8 weeks and like I'll be like, fuck yeah, let's go.
I got a goal to have my shirt off on stage this year at 55, 100%.
Yeah.
Like I'm on a mission, dude. And everyday training, I want to do it. I could totally do that. It's just like you to focus on the shit, dude. But it's harder as you get older too, though.
Totally.
Especially being vegan for me, like just gaining like the muscle and keeping the muscle and all that shit and all the proteins I got to fucking eat and all that. We was talking about my son. He's very active, but like balancing running and training and all that shit. And like, you do CrossFit too?
No.
Okay. You seem like you would do CrossFit. That's some Josh James shit. He's a beast in that, bro.
And the CrossFit too could be why he's had like physical health problems. Like the way that you kind of throw your body around doing that stuff. I mean, there's some crazy athletes.
It's like Olympian type shit,
right? But like, I mean, if you really don't know what you're doing, it's like it looks like a surefire way for an injury.
Yeah, I brought Josh James. I used to go to Soul Cycle. I brought him to Soul Cycle once, and he was like, "Yo, this is gnarly." On the bikes together and shit, it was awesome. But he did it. It was really awesome. Yeah, he's fucking. The whole pod's about Josh James. And then 2021, you put a record out. It was in 1996.
Yeah, so that was like a covers LP.
Yeah.
Covers LP
it's
with
cool.
like one new song. 1996. I wrote that song about like talking about retrospect and writing.
Yeah.
I wrote that song 1996 about it was my senior year of high school. It was the second week of school. I was serving a Saturday detention.
Oh shit.
And like this like white power skinhead kid was also in that detention with me, and like
what?
Yeah, we obviously didn't get on with those kids, right?
Yeah.
And so we walk through the door at the same time, and he shoulders me into the door, right? He like hip checks me, like body checks me into the doorway, and like just kind of laughing about it. And so like after like the detention time was served, I think we had to serve like 6 hours or something like that. What
did you do?
Went up to him and
no, how'd you get detention?
Oh, just skipping school.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I had to do the Saturday school because I had so many hours from skipping. So like, I think if you went on Saturdays, you got like 6 hours worth.
Okay.
And so at the end of it, I just went up to him and I just like rocked him.
Really?
Just tore him apart. Yeah, straight away.
What kind of shape are you in there? What kind of kid were you? Like
scrawny,
Damn.
like vegan straight edge kid.
Hard, dude.
So like
you just started snuffing him, punching him.
So yeah, dude. Yeah. Yeah, the male like teacher that was on staff, like pulled me off of him. I ended up getting like expelled. But the opening lyrics to that song were "Firestorm" playing in my head.
Oh, dude, that's so hard, dude.
Would have loved to fucking see you dead.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Have you seen that kid before at school?
Yeah.
He was a known like Nazi skin or something.
Yeah. And so fuck? It's just about like where I was at in life and like being a straight edge kid and like
dude.
Not standing up to those like ideas and like
I love it,
kind
dude.
of flushing him down the toilet. Yeah.
Fuck, he wasn't even trying to fight back. He just got him.
He couldn't.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you were like a kid who fought a lot back then?
Yeah.
And fought in school a bunch?
Yeah.
Damn. He's doing like it's like fair ones with people. It's like different fights. And
yeah, just got bullied a lot, man.
You did?
Yeah. And so I just
because you were little and how you looked or dressed.
Exactly. And so
damn.
And so I just like I got to a point like where I just didn't want to put up with anybody's shit, And like if I knew something, I was never like seeking out fights, but like I mean I guess I sought that one out, but that was more of like a retribution type thing, right?
Totally,
like,
dude. Damn.
But like, yeah, just if I sensed something was going to go down, like I wasn't going to be the one to take the first punch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I would be the one to throw it.
Damn. So did people start knowing that not to fuck with you after that?
Yeah. At school? Yeah.
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 I don't fuck with that kid. You think he's a weirdo.
But then, you know, you go out with your friends and like it's late at night on a Friday or Saturday night and like the drunk dudes come out from the bar and everybody looks different and like, you know, they start dropping F-bombs on you.
Oh yeah,
like,
dude.
You know, like, you know, the drunk bros like want to pick fights and start shit, and that's when, you know, chaos would arise.
I just saw this meme that Anthony from Killing Time posted. It was a picture of some punk just said, I was punk rock when it was called the F word.
Yeah.
But it's so true. Kids don't know about that before the internet and stuff, dude. Like the names people would call you and try to fight you because you looked weird or different. It's just, it was so offensive to them. They wanted to fucking physically hurt you. It's like, it's so interesting.
Bizarre, right?
Why it bothered you.
Yeah.
It's the same thing now with people being bothered by the people like who they're married to, who they love, all that stuff. It's like, why do you give a fuck?
Yeah.
It's so interesting, man.
I understand it, man.
So Orange County, man, there's all kinds of damn, that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
This part, I'm sure you've seen more than one of those kind of dudes for sure out there. Yeah.
100%.
Damn. It was the last time you've been in a fight.
Oh, dude. I can't even.
You're like a peaceful human now.
I can't even remember.
Yeah.
I can't even remember. God, well over 10 years.
Yeah.
Well over.
That's nice. Yeah. You feel less angry?
Yeah.
Especially with therapy, all that stuff. Be a lady, all that stuff. Music.
Like maybe 15 years. It's been a really long time, man.
Yeah.
Really long time.
Yeah, when you think about it.
Which is good. I don't want to get in fights. I'm in my 40s.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but back then you had that young angst, you had all that stuff pent up and all that shit. You're into hardcore, all that stuff. It's like, fuck Nazis and all that. You know what I mean? Damn, bro. Okay, so did you guys tour the 1996 things, just covers and the new songs?
No, because it was kind of, I think it was a
COVID thing. It was the pandemic.
Yeah, it was a pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
But the covers was cool. Like, Keith was doing these, like, hardcore covers.
That's cool.
He's like, dude, we should cover these. I was like, dude, let's do a 90s. Like, let's do half the record, like, hardcore bands that we love, and half the record, like influences, like, you know, so the like 90s rock. So it's like Metallica, STP, 9 Inch Nails, Nirvana.
Dope.
And the hardcore stuff was like Unbroken, Earth Crisis, Damnation AD.
Damnation. Shout out to Mike DC.
VOD.
Wow.
Yeah. And just fun for us, right? Like,
VOD's
that's what we
sick.
like. That's like, we're just about like, what can we do to have fun with the band, right?
Dude, VOD is so underrated, bro.
So underrated.
They just played recently. Did you see that?
No.
They did a benefit
yeah.
They killed it, dude. They killed it, man. That's a band I can see coming back and actually people being stoked about.
I saw them maybe 9 years ago.
Okay.
Now, at the
was like a reunion kind of
Whiskey.
Really?
Yeah, they were out touring a record.
Wow.
Or playing a record. Yeah, it was sick.
Damn, that's cool. We covered a VOD song though.
Love
and what about this EP that came out 2023?
Yeah, so we
how do I pronounce it? What's it called?
Purgatorio.
What does that mean?
So the first EP came out like shortly after 1996, I think.
Yep.
Called Inferno.
Yep.
And so it's a 3-part
from that.
So yeah, this is going to be a trilogy of EPs.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so each song has 6 songs on them, and it covers like the Divine Comedy. So it's Inferno, Purgatorio, and then it's going to be Paradiso or Paradise. So the lyrics for that are more geared towards like those parts of like the Divine Comedy and how I can relate them to my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. And that's the last thing that came out.
Yeah.
And then
well, so we did a reissue of Obsession.
Okay,
just recently. Yeah, where we did a re-recording of and then released the original on like a double LP. But it wasn't like anything new.
You put that out yourself?
Yeah.
And what's the label card you guys have?
Not just 18V.
That's it?
Yeah. Didn't get too creative with it. Yeah, I know. What a fail, right?
No, that's sick though. You put it all out yourself. That's so smart, dude. It's crazy coming back full circle to that and like how it all starts.
So Keith's learned how to become a very savvy producer.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get that part of it and you don't have that expense really,
yeah,
maybe a little studio time here and there, but like most of it's done like in home.
Yeah.
That shaves a lot of it off. And then the rest of it is like the cost of production. So, you know, it's trickier when we were younger to do anything like that. But, you know, you're an adult and like you open a business account and you get a credit card and you can put like, you know, the deposit down for whatever, 10 grand or whatever to do X amount of vinyls, right?
Yeah.
You know, back then you're younger, you're like, oh shit, like we can't afford that, right? But now you're like, okay, let's do the math, let's break this down, we're going to sell this amount, like this is going to cover that, and then there's going to be some money like left over to take home afterwards, and like we're not going to worry about fronting the 10K for production and paying the additional like whatever 7K or 8K on top of that when the product is delivered, right?
Yeah.
So we just don't worry about it. Like, you know, we're adults and we're able to like do these things on our own, and it's nice. Yeah,
it's crazy how much money was wasted and put into records and videos and all that stuff throughout our careers, man, especially on major labels too. It's insane.
Flushing money down the toilet. It's crazy.
Dude, it's yeah, like I guess my on the Go record, our back cover photo, that photo shoot for the back of the major label was the whole entire budget of the record before that. Just a photo shoot on a major label was crazy, bro. And the recouping and all that fucking bullshit, and remember SoundScan and all that stress about
dude.
We're gonna do the first week and sending those forms into a label to get your SoundScan up, and that
so much
and that
pressure,
mattered.
right?
You know, what was pressure. That for, bro? That was crazy.
And like we did a photo shoot for Epic, and like it was a full on all day event.
Oh, so much money, dude.
And like, dude, they got it catered.
Oh, bro.
Like, I mean, there was like a full on spread of catering, and like it was just all day long. Everyone was there, like product manager, like assistants, like somebody from radio, obviously.
And you feel special, like you're doing something awesome, but then they charge you for it.
Right, totally. And the catering, right? You're like, oh, what do you guys want? Like, oh, cool. Like, yeah. Oh, well, your invoices now, like, or you know,
it's so true. They really believe in us. No, here's
the amount you owe is now $1,200,000.
I know, it's a couple $100,000 a day.
Yeah, dude.
But that's what people don't understand when they get into the business. They think it's all like that, but it's not. Like the recouping and all that.
Yeah.
Or like the cross collateral thing. I think Epitaph, like if you're about to recoup on your record, then you put a new one out, and it just turns over to the new. It's so weird how that shit works. And then publishing and owning your publishing and getting publishing deals, and it's crazy. But the royalty thing was crazy. The whole SoundScan thing was bananas. Like I remember Tuesday night, get in for Wednesday, so it makes the SoundScan for the Friday or Monday. It's like, who gives a fuck?
And
I hated all the business.
And then you forget to send them.
Yeah, dude.
And it's like, oh,
or they don't go through.
Right.
But I hated all that part of the music business, the business. I love playing on stage. Everything else is like the real work of being in the band, the travel, all the other stress of it. But being on stage is the most important thing, and writing songs with your friends. But all the business aspect made it so fucking, I just hated it, dude.
That's why someone needs to invent teleportation.
Yeah.
I've been saying this for 25, 30
well, that's
years.
going to happen soon, bro. They're doing everything. So. We got fucking cars driving around, little robots.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's a great point, though.
Like if you could imagine teleporting to every show from your house.
Dude.
Right?
So cool.
Like you're playing a show in London, right? You go on at like 10 p.m. GMT.
Yeah.
And we're 8 hours behind here. So you wake up at noon, right? And you get there 2 hours before you go on, or maybe 1 hour before you go on. You do your vocal warm-ups at home.
So
and you just teleport. You do the show, maybe do a little meet and greet, shake some hands, kiss some babies.
Back in your bed.
Back in your bed, dude.
That's amazing.
Or back home and going to the gym. Or hanging out with your friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine that.
You know what kind of does that is my brother's in the Offspring, and the singer flies his own plane. So they'll like stay in one place, and then they'll fly. Like maybe they'll stay in Chicago and New York for the week, but then they'll fly back and forth to each show and be off stage and go right back to the, it's crazy, bro. Like the singer, my brother's on the plane and the singer's flying him after they played a show together. It's bananas, bro. It's a different level of whatever, but still, I don't like flying them. You like flying?
I don't mind it at all.
Really?
No.
You don't get stressed out going to the airports and shit?
Nah.
How about sleeping on flights?
Not great.
How about jet lag? Fuck you up?
I'm okay. Actually. Like I just got back on Friday and I normally wake up around 5 a.m. So I've been getting up around 3:30, 4. So I'm only like an hour and a half off. It's not terrible.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not bad.
No. I'm not like, going to sleep at 10 and waking up at like 2 a.m. like with my eyes like wide open.
Are you in the gym at that early in the morning?
No, I usually go around 7. I wake up, have coffee with my wife while she gets ready, put on KTLA 5 morning news, see what's going on with the weather.
Weather's the same every day.
Yeah, dude.
Pleasantville, bro.
Feed the dogs at 6, walk them at 6:30.
How many dogs you got?
2.
Okay, what kind of dogs?
Just little mutts, little scruffy mutts.
Nice.
Yeah.
How many coffees a day?
Coffees a day. Usually like 1 to 2 at home, and then like a Starbucks like Americano on the way into.
You're
the
not
salon.
a coffee snob. You don't fuck with like different coffees.
Because
people don't like Starbucks. That's like
I don't love Starbucks, but I love the convenience, and so
True.
like I become more of like what's convenient and like what's quick. Right? We've got an espresso machine at home. I figured out which ones I like, and going to Europe, those coffees on a different level, right?
Yeah, my band's all about that life, dude.
Yeah, me too, man.
Walking to the coffee shops through little towns.
I mean, I do love a great coffee shop. Don't get me wrong, like a smaller, like mom and pop, like that is going to serve me a great cup. I just know what I'm getting with what I get.
You know what you're getting at Dunkin' Donuts and Starbucks.
Totally,
you know.
man. Yeah, and it's just like it's just doing a job, right?
Yes.
It's not like pure enjoyment. It's like when I'm in Europe, I'm like sipping on like a cappuccino in Italy, and like
you like the taste of coffee?
I do, yeah.
It's also like a routine thing too,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
I think coffee, because caffeine's obviously. I'm trying to do yerba mate now and not do the coffee because it makes me crazy. But yerba mate's got a lot of caffeine in it as well. It's interesting. But that's the one thing we do. That's fucking. We don't do anything else.
Yeah.
Did you ever not want to fall off, but you always never thought about, I'm going to be straight edge the rest of my life. This is it. This is like my lifestyle. This is it.
Since I was 14, 15.
It's amazing, dude.
How old was I? 14? 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been straight edge for 31 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say your whole life, if I had to say, if I was any kind of person in the high hierarchy of the straight edge movement.
Well, you can say whatever you want to me, you know what I mean? And I'll accept it.
Because you taste it and you spit it out. It's great. It's like, oh, fucking.
For me, I kind of count it to the point where like,
I like
I
that.
actually knew and found out what straight edge was.
Totally.
Right? And
yeah.
so like, I've been drug and alcohol free my entire life, but I've been straight edge, knowing what that meant and what that was like since I was like 14.
Yeah.
And like I talk to people now that are considering being straight edge later in life.
Yeah.
And like,
like if you weren't
really kind of researching what that is, you know what I mean? Like that I'm not really like a timeout straight edge person. Like I can't take a timeout and like come back to it.
Yeah.
For me, it's like
if you're not now, you never were type thing.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you were from like 1995 to 2001.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and that's kind of how I look at it because like,
people going sober is a different thing,
right? Because I didn't take a break from being straight edge. Did you?
No.
Right. And like most of the people I know didn't take a break from being straight edge. So if somebody else takes breaks from being straight edge, they take their little timeouts to do their little things and whatever they feel like they need to do at the time, and then they come back to it. That kind of waters down what it is to me.
Good point.
You know what I mean? And like it's very important to me.
It's very sacred. It's like,
even when I was doing like my rock band, right? And like I wasn't going to hardcore shows because I was out doing like rock tours, and I wasn't
You're doing
like,
rock stuff.
I wasn't really a part of like the hardcore community at that time because I just wasn't available to be a part of it, right? I was still listening to hardcore. I was still listening to metal, right? I was still listening to all the bands like I grew up listening to and loved. But like the thought of like being straight edge, like never a fucking thought.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's almost, I don't want to say it's like our religion or whatever. It's just something that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Since we brush our teeth every day, we don't think about, we do that when we brush our teeth every day. We know we're not going to drink today. It's just something we just don't do and never have and never tried it, never cared to try it. Been around it our whole entire lives, all around us. Seen people die from addiction.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, do you have any regrets in your life?
I think my biggest regrets are like, I had like 2 relationships that were like pretty toxic. One of them was, I ended up getting married. I met her when I was 21.
Okay.
Got married very short amount of time until I was 30. A lot of makeup breakup, right? And I don't regret the relationship. I think I regret how much time I spent in it.
All those years. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And 20s. I think the relationship that followed lasted almost 2 years, and she had a drug and alcohol abuse problem.
Damn.
That
must have been hard for you. Yeah.
Very hard. And I wasn't really privy to like what Oxy was.
Okay.
And like what the names for these
why would you be? Yeah,
pills were.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I was touring, and so I would come home and things were cool, and then I would go out on tour and I would come home and things were cool, and I would go out on tour and I would come home and things were kind of weird, and then I would go out on tour and come home again and things were even weirder, and like I started to see like weird patterns and different behaviors, and I was like, wait a second, like what's going on here? And I just wish I would have gotten out of those sooner, not spent as much time. I've learned from them, but I've also learned that like maybe I have like codependency issues that stem from, circling back to like the beginning of this conversation and like my parental upbringing and not having dads around and abandonment and So,
interesting.
But, I didn't really learn what that was up until like recently. You know what I mean? I've always regretted the amount of time I spent in those relationships. Because I just feel like I wasted a lot of time and years. And put in a lot of energy. But
is that person okay now?
I have no idea.
Okay.
No
Wow.
clue.
Wow.
No clue.
Yeah.
No contact. No clue.
Yeah, I mean, you stay with her and try to help her, I'm sure,
Yeah, and I've learned, too, that, like, you can only save yourself, man. Like, you can't do for other people. They have to do for themselves. As much as you want to fix and help and save.
It's a great point.
You cannot do,
Yeah.
You can only do for yourself.
Yeah.
You can support and love, right?
Yeah, for
love
sure.
And support, but, like, you can't do for them.
I agree.
Yeah.
How much time you spend on social media? And are you a fan of social media? I know it's like a necessary evil.
Not a ton, actually. No, not a ton.
I like that.
I
just
really
promoting the band or whatever.
Yeah, and like like when I'm on holiday with my wife, I'll post stories, a couple posts here and there. But I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do too much because I don't want to flood somebody's feed, right?
Yeah.
I'm usually like a 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of swipe guy, and like that's it. I'm done.
It's smart before the rabbit hole. Yeah.
Dude. And then I'm like on like the New York Times doing like the crossword. And shit like that.
I love that.
Like
are you watching the news a bunch?
Wordle.
You pay attention to the news in the world and everything.
Yeah, I try to. Yeah, but I also tried to not get too like wrapped up and worried about it. You know,
it's true.
Yeah,
we can do our part. We can.
Yeah, I don't want it to be something to where it gives me stress and anxiety.
Yeah.
Which it has. A little bit here and there.
For sure. But past couple of years, for sure. The pandemic, the world, the division, all that shit was a crazy time. Yeah. Were you doing hair during the pandemic?
I was.
Wow.
Yeah, I was doing house calls.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
After maybe the first like 2-ish months of it.
Yeah.
I started doing house calls like for select clients and
that was a crazy time, man.
Just trying to be careful, and I actually didn't get COVID until like Christmas Eve of 2020, I think it was.
Really?
Yeah. The salon was open, or was it 2021?
Probably 2021.
2021. Yeah, I came home and it was like the day before Christmas Eve. My wife and I were at the store like doing some grocery shopping, and I was like, man, I feel so tired. And then it was like, oh, you worked a long week. It's been brutal. I was like, you're right. I woke up on Christmas Eve and I was like, man, I feel funny. I don't feel sick, but I just feel funny.
Yeah.
I went down and got tested, and sure enough, and like I never felt really sick.
Yeah.
I just felt like run down.
It was so weird when I got it too when you first get it. And you're like, oh my God, this is a thing in the news. This thing, all of the news, like I have it inside of me now. It kind of tripped me out at first, but then obviously we made it through, thankfully. But like you see on the news when you have all this stress, and then you have it, you're like, okay, it's inside of me. This thing it was wild, man.
Yeah,
we made it through though.
Yeah, we did.
And I feel like music's really thriving since that. I really do. I feel like it's fucking thriving, bro.
Yeah, I think people were like not able to do things, or like they weren't getting together, as bands, and they weren't getting in the studio, and just because it just wasn't accessible. It wasn't.
But I feel like all those little shows started popping up like Under the Bridge and all those crazy things you started seeing, and like people just getting so antsy in their houses, and like it's such a powerful thing. Music, it's so important. But it was the lowest thing on the totem pole. They kept saying, I kept waiting, like, when's music coming back? I was, oh, this and this, and like kept getting pushed down. Like, fuck, is this ever going to come back? Like, is that it? Is that all we done?
Yeah,
music?
It's crazy,
it was
right?
weird, right? Yeah. But I was also at the same time, I was like, okay, if that's it, then I had a great life and a great career with music. And if it doesn't come back, then I'll figure something out. But it's just weird, like that's what I learned during the pandemic. Like, don't stress about things you have no control over, because we had zero control over that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with like whatever politics. You can go vote, do your part, sing about things, talk about things, but whatever happens, it's like moving forward now into this year. We don't know what's going to happen. Who knows? You know?
Who knows? And we can't do anything about it.
I know.
Right? And so.
Yeah, no, it's so crazy. Are you an optimist or pessimist?
Optimist.
Yeah, you seem like it. Yeah.
I try to stay positive, man. Like
you've always been like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I try to see the good in people and the good in things. And
it's kind of a bad thing sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah.
My wife tells me that. I see the good in everybody.
But
sometimes not all people are all good.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
But I've learned sometimes you just need to be cautious with situations and some people, and that's not necessarily like how I am, but I try to see the positive in everything.
Same,
I don't want to walk around with my head in the fucking dirt and
Yeah.
Woe is me, this sucks, like, it's kind of no way to live. I think even when I was like struggling heavily, like in high school, I still, like, even though I was angry, I wasn't like, I don't think I was really depressed. I wasn't negative. I wasn't like, this sucks, that sucks, fuck this, fuck that.
Yeah.
I wasn't really like that.
It's crazy how like, well, you had stuff growing up in your life. I lost my dad when I was 3. I had 2 brothers who were always partying around me, and instead of going to like, obviously you got in some trouble, but you weren't like going to jail, or you weren't fucking partying. But we found this music and straight edge, something totally, I don't know, something a positive thing that like kind of saved us. Do you know what I'm saying? We could have been like, oh, I got my dad died. Oh my God, fuck everything. Like we were still kind of like stressed and angry about the world and fear and all that stuff. But we found this movement, this underground world that was like, had such a positive impact on us. Do you know what I'm saying? And we faced everything head on straight and alert. Like we weren't like just wasted, like talking about, we like face on, dude. Do you know what I'm saying? Like head on, clear-minded.
And that's like,
I think that's hard, no joke.
Not to get into politics, but when like, I work in Orange County, I work in Newport Beach. So when I have like clients or people like asking me like, oh, what do you think? And I say, well, I think this, and this. Oh, really? Like, really? Is that, well, why? I was like, well, I grew up in like a punk and like metal community where it's like,
we questioned everything. We talked about everything. Yeah.
And like acceptance, unless you were like a Nazi, right?
Exactly.
Like, like you were welcome, right? Like, it didn't,
so true.
Didn't care like if you were, gay or straight or, like trans wasn't super heavy at that point in time, but like didn't care if you were vegan or straight edge or not. Like, I didn't, I ran with people from all walks of life.
Even when you were the most hardline about it, same with me.
Man.
Same.
Like, I still have my jock friends from baseball when I was like fucking gnarly vegan straight edge kid.
That's dope.
I had like friends that would go to shows that weren't straight edge. Like I didn't care. We were all there for the same reason. It was
agree, man.
A good community. It always felt like really positive, and it was just a good like beautiful thing to grow up in, and it's a place I felt accepted and safe. And I feel like that's why I've always been accepting of other people, and wanting the best for humanity. Yeah.
I feel the same way. My wife always tells me that like I let people in kind of too quick, and I should, like you said, like be cautious more as I get older. And obviously your circle of friends gets smaller as you get older, but it's like quality over quantity. But I've always seen the good in people, man. Always, dude. Always found something. And because I grew up with a bunch of crazy psychos in New York, they were wild ass dudes, but I love them all. They have such good hearts, and they're gentlemen, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I've always been like that, I guess. I've been a very optimistic person. Kind of live in my little bubble at sometimes where I don't really pay attention to the news, and I just live my life and not really think about shit like that, and want the whole, because I do feel like I have empathy, and I feel a lot of the world's pain too much, and sometimes I feel like powerless, that I can't do anything to fix it. Obviously you could write a song about it, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I've always been like that. Are you a sensitive person, emotional person?
Yeah, I think so. A little bit.
I mean, we're all emotional, but especially singers, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're like emo as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do cry watching movies or shit like that?
Totally, man.
Sick.
Absolutely.
Sick. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I was watching on the flight home. I hadn't seen it.
How come we always cry on flights? Dude, every kind of person cries on flights.
I haven't seen this movie in fucking years, but Remember the Titans.
Oh, that's a sick ass movie, dude.
And
yeah.
dude, when the white kids on the team start to come around and like accept like, the black players and vice versa. Like, dude, it tears me up, man, because it's like unity, right?
Totally.
And like those were like, that was like real shit, man. And like obviously like, yeah, racism bothers me.
Same. Yeah.
So like I get choked up when like people overcome that shit and like it's silly.
A great movie,
it's
dude.
Silly, right? But like it's not like a sad thing. It's like a positive, like happy thing, right?
Totally.
Like, where it's just like, this is uplifting. It makes me feel good. Like I get kind of choked up over it.
Yeah, that's a great movie, dude. Fuck,
Yeah.
I think I show my son that movie. It's such a great movie, dude. Yeah, I've always been an emotional person, man. Especially I think too, like when we have parent things, maybe that's why too. Like your parents divorced and you had like this relationships with your dad and finally you had another, all that stuff. It's just like, I don't know, man. Because sometimes we keep it in. Let it build up. That's why therapy's good. I back therapy.
I kept it in for a long time. The only way I could get it out was writing lyrics.
Yeah.
And that was like my only outlet. I wasn't talking to somebody about it. Do
you think therapy is really helpful for you?
Yeah, I do.
And you do it a lot?
Yeah, I was doing it once a week for a while. Now it's about once a month.
That's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get back into this year. I went last year for my first time. So
yeah, but it's just good to like talk and reason things out,
Yeah. I like talking to a stranger.
Yeah.
Let's have my notes here. What is do you have like a top 5 favorite artist?
Yeah, Alice in Chains.
Damn.
For me, yeah. Alice in Chains, I mean, I got it. Alice in Chains,
that's a good one. Nobody's ever put that in their top 5, man.
Yeah,
on this
that's my one, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
A great band though.
I mean, I've got Depeche Mode, In Excess.
Ooh, In Excess. Damn.
Stone Temple Pilots, Guns N' Roses.
Damn.
Pantera.
Damn. This is an awesome one. This is very,
Duran Duran, Oasis.
Damn, we're going top 10 now.
Yeah.
Are you going to go see Oasis when they come back?
I am, yeah.
In England or here?
I'm seeing them twice here and then twice in Toronto.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to see one here too. That's incredible, man.
I don't have any like hardcore bands in my top 10.
Yeah, interesting. I like that though.
But if I did put one in there, like, I mean, my favorite like hardcore bands of all time is like Earth Crisis.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Vision of Disorder.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
That's nice. VOD's never been put in the top on this. That's great, yeah.
Unbroken. Cave In.
Okay.
Converge.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about hip hop stuff? You ever listen to hip hop growing up?
Dude, I did. Yeah. I grew up listening to like hip hop, like 80s, like 80s stuff, like, NWA.
Yeah.
Eazy-E.
West Coast shit.
Yeah. Mostly West Coast shit for sure. Got into Souls of Mischief.
Great, dude.
Stuff like that. I was into like Bobby Brown.
Bobby Brown's great, dude. Holy
yeah,
shit.
Dude. I still love Bobby Brown.
That record's incredible. Whole album, bro.
I'll still put Don't Be Cruel on.
Dude,
I'll
banger.
still put it on.
Banger.
That album is unreal.
It's incredible,
it's
dude.
Unreal.
I have a real quick story. Last year, I ordered a Bobby Brown shirt from his website. I never got the shirt, dude. I tried reaching out many times to the website. It was an expensive T-shirt. Never got it. So Bobby Brown, I need my shirt, man.
Shitty.
Dude, Don't Be Cruel. She's My Roni. Oh my God, dude.
But I loved Wu-Tang, Method Man. If we're talking like East Coast stuff,
hell yeah,
that was
bro.
like my jam in the '90s for sure.
I love Bobby Brown, dude.
I love Bobby Brown.
Did you like New Edition?
Not as much, no.
Yeah. Maybe it was the timing for that record
I
for you.
like Belle Biv DeVoe.
Best, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
I like them more as adults.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What do you mean, as recently?
No, like as adults, singers.
Oh,
versus
yeah.
like, as a New Edition.
Oh, yeah. They're still playing, too, and still touring, too.
Yeah, crazy.
So you like R&B shit?
I do like, Jodeci, Blackstreet.
Let's go, bro. Blackstreet,
yeah,
yes.
I like vocals, man. I like good singing,
Dude, R&B's the shit, dude.
I'm into all sorts of shit, dude. 90s, like female, like fronted shit.
Like what?
Tori Amos,
Dope.
Fiona Apple.
Do you like Adele?
Love Adele.
best. You ever seen her live?
No.
Incredible, dude. Do you like damn, Adele's sick. You like Beyonce? Listen to that shit?
I'm
thinking about girl singers. You like Billie Eilish?
Love Billie Eilish.
Best.
Yeah, Beyonce, like I respect musically for sure.
Yeah.
It's not like I mean tunes are catchy for sure. Big into Taylor Swift.
Really? You're a Swiftie?
Yeah, man. Songwriting's great.
Yeah, she's got bangers. You think she writes her own songs?
I do. I think she might have a little bit of help, but I do think she has a heavy hand in it.
Have you seen her perform?
No.
I heard it's incredible. I want to go.
I would love to.
I was supposed to go this summer because Paramore was opening up, and I was going to go see Paramore, and then I was in Austria the same day, and then they got that terrorist threat, and they canceled all those shows.
Crazy.
Last summer. It was crazy, dude.
Yeah. I like vocal technicians. I like people that can sing. She's not like the best singer, but like the songs are there for me.
Adele can really sing, dude.
She's got pipes.
What about Paramore?
Paramore. Yeah, good songs.
Yeah, good songs.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like the more recent shit she's been putting out.
Oh yeah, dude, Malibu and all that shit.
Yeah, just more mature. Yeah,
dude, it's
good.
So she has a new video with Justin Bieber I just saw.
Yeah, I love Bieber.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh yeah, bangers, man.
He's got so many hits.
So many bangers. Sick show too. Seen him.
I never seen him. Yeah.
Sick. Yeah.
Oh, because Johnson was touring with him too.
Yep.
Damn, shout out to Johnson. He's lived downstairs. Yeah. Dude, he's still with him too, right?
When he's out, I think
I saw a picture online of them two together playing basketball or something. I was like, what? Yeah, Bieber's ill, dude. So you like all that pop shit. I like that.
Yeah, dude. Like good music is good music to me, man. I don't
Katy Perry?
care. Yeah, dude. Katy Perry's got some bangers.
Fuck yeah,
dude.
I have a Katy Perry tattoo.
I'm not afraid. My wife just listens to Kiss FM, dude. That's it.
Okay, so
she's not from like metal.
That's great.
Hardcore scene at all. Like she's full on like whatever's on the radio is cool. Like
I saw Billy like 2 weeks ago singing, playing guitar, just two backup singers.
I wanted to go, man. We were playing.
Damn.
Yeah.
Next time we'll go. It's an amazing show, dude. Yeah, Taylor Swift's sick. There's some other singers out there, girl singers that I fucking love. You like Sade?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro. I want to see her live before. That's a bucket list before I die. I need to see her live. I heard she has a record coming out.
New one.
Yeah. And her son's trans and she wrote a whole song about him. That's the new single. It's pretty beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, Sade. Fuck, maybe we could talk. What about you? What's coming up for you? The Headbangers Boat thing with Lamb of God. That looks cool.
Yeah, we've got some stuff in the pipeline for next year.
This year, bro.
Oh yeah, it's 2025.
Happy New Year, bro. You're my second part of the year. Happy New Year.
Sweet. Happy New Year. So yeah, I got we got some stuff in the pipeline for later this year. Some dates being thrown around, but
that's cool.
Headbangers Boat's the only thing that's locked in. So pumped.
And we talked before the pod, like you've been on boat cruises and stuff.
Yeah, my wife and I like.
So
cruising.
you're used to it. Yeah. Performing's different. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
But the boat's not like rocking around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. So you have your own little room in there. You play a couple of sets and.
Yeah, I think there's like 3 different stages. Like there's one outside by the pools, and I think there's like the theater auditorium stage or whatever, and then there's like another. So
heavy touring for this year a lot.
We definitely want to play more than we did last year.
Yeah, let's not stress Dan out.
Yeah.
But smart, like not like 2 weeks straight and all that shit.
We did 2 weeks like a couple years ago on the Vanity run, and it was just too much.
Does anybody have kids in the band?
Keith does.
Okay.
He's got 2 kids, but they're like, they're in grammar school. Like they're at an age where it's like easy for him to kind of get away from it.
I've been there. Yeah, I get it. And is everybody married in the band?
Me, Keith, Dan, and Josh. Yeah.
Sick.
And Josh is at this point right now where it's like he can kind of do what he can with us.
Bro,
right?
he grinds,
like,
dude.
I know, man.
I would say him and Scott Vogel was up there for touring, but like, dude, stick to your guns. And Josh in general is always playing, man.
Yeah, it's nice having everybody like either married or tied down in like a relationship. There's not like that single crazy fucker like running around.
Yeah.
Like trying to do this and that and be all over. Everybody's like super mellow. And
is everybody pretty sober too in the band?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. And you got two edgers, and you got Josh and fucking you and Smith.
Yeah.
Everybody else?
Drummer is, I don't think he drinks, but everyone's edge.
What about tattoo? You just do it getting tatted?
Yeah.
I saw you get your arm blacked out. It looks beautiful.
Yeah,
though.
I got this done over the last
That shit
year.
hurts though, I heard.
I've had this done actually for over a year now. It's been finished. Yeah.
Fuck, you have a Cubs elbow tattoo?
I do, dude. Yeah. Yeah.
My wife would be so psyched. The blackout shit hurts more than regular stuff because it's like, I don't know, intense. Doesn't hurt that. You said the inside hurt.
It wasn't that bad. It was just up around the armpit that was brutal. inside of the wrist, which is just normally terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, still getting tattoos.
Would you ever do your hands full?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you got the one hand.
I got the one. Yeah.
It's crazy how people getting tattoos hands and neck first now and going backwards.
I know. And it's funny. I always said I would never get my hands done. And
Me too.
And my knuckles. And I just recently got my knuckles done.
Oh, shit.
I was like, I'll never do that. And here we are.
Carefree. I like that.
Yeah.
I know I have so many contracts. Some with Dan Smith, he has all these Post-its where this is my last tattoo ever. And with my wife, I had so many contracts that I'll never tattoo my neck. I'll never tattoo my hands. It's the one thing I should never, ever say I'm never going to do. I can't stop doing it, bro.
Yeah.
As you get older, it hurts. We're talking about numbing cream before.
Dude, it's terrible.
Have you got laser stuff off?
I have.
Yeah.
It sucks.
I know. Did you cover it up already?
Yeah.
I know. I'm getting some shit laser right now, too. It sucks. But I'm excited for what's going to be after that. I have some new space. You black out the other arm or no?
Not sure.
Do you have tattoos that you regret? They're already covered
all
up?
Of them.
That's why you're covering them all up?
Most of them, yeah.
You got some silly ones, too?
Nothing really silly, just...
You got band tats? Other band tats?
Couple of like Avenged Death Bats here.
Oh, that's cool.
Which were covering up some shit.
Yeah.
That I had, but like, yeah, otherwise, like no real band tats. Everything on me is a cover up of a cover up. It's just, that's, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I just wasn't thinking. I should have listened to my mom.
Are you fully tatted pretty much?
No. Like
okay.
I've got nothing on my back. My legs are like, I've got some on my legs, but they're not like full on done. A lot of, I mean, that's why I got the blackout, right?
I know.
You know, cover up on my neck.
You got your legs tatted?
A little bit, just a little bit.
Do you want to do more like all that? Cover
Kind of do.
Yeah.
I kind of do.
Yeah, it's weird when you get older though and you fucking starts hurting more.
It does.
Well, fuck, man, this has been great hanging out with you, dude.
Likewise.
Make sure I cover my notes in here.
We got a lot.
We got so much, dude. So happy to have you here. I mean, I met you throughout the years. I don't even know if we played together before, really, except for the
maybe like festivals and shit like that. Yeah.
I always knew you and the name and everything like that, and knew the story. And it's just cool. And Dan's like, "Oh, I'm playing this band." I'm like, "Oh, fuck, I know that band." And then seeing you guys at Furnace, and yeah, man, I appreciate you coming up for the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
What do you got to do today? Just head home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go run some groceries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you working the rest of the week?
Yeah.
It's pretty cool being on boss though, man.
It is. I love it.
It's pretty amazing, the journey and, you know, everything you put out there in the world of music, and continue to be creative and make music and do what you love. Our lives are pretty blessings, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's it's cool just to be doing this I'm 30 years in my band this year, and yeah, it's pretty wild, man. Where can people find you? So obviously social media is 18 Visions. You have a personal account. You check your DMs from people and shit or not?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, I mean,
but you don't.
Me and Keith will check, but like it's, you know, it's really sporadic. Like, it's not something like we're always like on top of.
Yeah.
But yeah, we do get around to them. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever get negative comments or ever that comments affect you ever in your life?
Not really.
Or band reviews or anything like that?
I try to like not let that stuff bother me.
Yeah.
You know?
I love that.
I mean, we all have opinions, right? Like
totally. And everybody has one now, dude.
Yeah, somebody doesn't like you. It's like, dude, like I think like, especially with music, I tried a long time ago to stop pleasing people. Like I can't please everyone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just kind of do for myself with that, you know, and like this makes me happy, and like you can't expect everyone else to like it or be on board.
Yeah, not everybody's going to like you.
Yeah.
But I love that your band like made new records over and over again. I think that's admirable. I think that's amazing. I'm kind of envious of that. I wish that, you know, maybe we would have done that sometimes, but I started Hazen Street to do different style for that.
Yeah.
But like just the fact that every record you guys did that and took chances because you believed in it and you wrote what you wanted to write. Obviously you want to please your fans, but also sometimes bands get caught up in just trying to write the hit or write what the last record sound like. That one did really well and like you didn't. It's cool, man.
I actually
respect that so much.
Thanks. I think that's one thing we actually really didn't take into account was pleasing our fans. And like I think we were more wrapped up in like, what kind of music do we want to create? What do we want to try next? Like, what do we want to do different? Where can we push this? Where can we push that? What's new? What are we into like right now?
What are we listening to now?
And how can we like implement that into the music that we're making? You know, like I said earlier, if we would have maybe thought a little bit more about the fan base and maybe like kind of reeled in like some of like the chances that we took and the boundaries that we were pushing, maybe the career would have gone a little bit different. It would have been a little bit more stable. It would have been more steady. The fan base would have actually grown instead of depleted and then regrown and depleted and regrown again.
Yeah.
You know, and we would have had like, you know, a different trajectory, but you know, I'm no regrets on what we did and how we did things.
There's not one record you don't like and are happy with?
I love them all.
That's amazing, dude. And you still play songs from all of them and try to?
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude.
Yep.
And would there be a new record, do you think? A new 18 Visions record?
Yeah. A new EP eventually.
Cool.
Yeah. Just to follow up the other two.
And so how many years are you guys together now?
Me and Keith have been playing together since like 95? I want to say 99.
99. Okay,
99. Okay. I've been doing since 95, but me and Keith since 99. And really when Keith
29 years, damn.
When Keith joined, it really like kind of like developed like the sound fully. Yeah, and like what we were. So yeah, and I mean we play stuff before Keith joined. So stuff
awesome,
from like
man.
whenever that Cedar Gate LP was released, 98, 99, somewhere around there. Yeah, 98 I think it was. Yeah, we'll play stuff off of that.
Crazy,
yeah,
man.
That's about as far back as we go. We don't go to the first EP, but
yeah. It's awesome. 29 years in the band.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Fuck, dude.
Wow.
That's over half your life.
Yeah.
That's crazy because you're only 45. That's fucking nuts, bro.
Yeah.
It's a long time in music, man.
Yeah.
Well, fuck, man. Congrats on everything, and thanks for being here. And you look healthy. You seem happy. You're fucking in a good place.
Thank you,
Got
bro.
that good hair.
Appreciate
That's
it.
good shape. This guy's living the dream.
Trying, man. Trying.
Okay, thank you for being here. Thanks to all the listeners, and bye. Peace. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swipe the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details or anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years to have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations. US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art Pico-Way laser technology. Cryo-technology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Definitely check out One Life, One Chance podcast, episode 281. I have Carmen Brody, Mike McTurnan, and Dustin Ortle from Removery. And this is over 2-hour conversation. People submitted questions. It's an incredible conversation breaking down the do's, the don'ts, the fears, process, the results, everything you could imagine about getting a tattoo removed. It's all in this podcast. It's an incredible episode. I appreciate them all coming out for it. So check that out if you want to learn more about Removery and what it's like to get a tattoo removed. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.